You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious. We are back, not with Blade in the Dark. We're going into space. This is Scum and Villainy.
Nice.
Into space for a special annual one-shot. The Dice Encounters one-shot continues this year with Scum and Villainy, with Daryl returning, great success, and also as with Milo as the Game Master. So I will now throw to you, good sir.
Thank you. Right. I also want to make a point of saying that while I was reading through the rulebook, there is somewhere in here a space reference that I saw amongst its plethora of Ready Player One-esque level of reference cramming, which I found much more enjoyable than that terrible
as long as
piece of
Red Alert
literature.
3 and Perry get to look in.
Yeah. So, welcome to what are we playing? Scum and Villainy. So I want to do just a brief little background, make sure everyone knows where we are and what kind of world we're in, and then we'll pretty much jump straight into it, where we'll do some character stuff. So, we are in the Procyon system in some time in the future. The universe as we know it, this is a very small slice of what we know about space. But if you have seen Firefly, that's basically the setting, and if you haven't, we're basically living in a sort of set of systems where a powerful group known as the Hegemony are in force, having unified through force the planets, and society is led really by much like in modern day society, by powerful organizations with their own goals. Some of the more notable ones, which it's worth noting, are the Hegemony themselves. They are, basically the galactic government. But they're also powerful cults and guilds. The Guild of Engineers are the organization who control, look after, and as most organizations actually do, are seeking powerful artifacts from an ancient race called the or the also just called the predecessors. One of those other precursors. Every sci-fi setting's got one. So there's an ancient civilization where they understood technology much better than us, and space is littered with places for people to acquire them, and there's a hot trade. So that's what controls much of society. Really is seeking these, trying to sell them, steal them, acquire them, study them, further science, and so on. But where we are broadly on the fringes of central control, where it's much more feudal, really. Planets are relatively independent from hegemonic control, and there is a lot of space for scum and villainy.
Was that?
So, Rimworlds, would you say?
Yes, you could say Rimworlds. So, here's how we begin. Your crew, which I don't believe had a name in the end, I think we'll call it the Moondusters.
I like the obscurity.
Crew of the Obscurity was framed and caught for crimes that, for once, you have not committed. I know this may come up when we find out a little bit more about Flash, who might feel particularly hard done by being framed. Again. So, you've been framed for crimes you did not commit, and you have all been sent to the nastiest prison in the sector. Isotroper Max Secure. What a great way to start the day. So, one of you, who we'll find out a little bit more out soon, has a ship held in impound. It's held there until the Starsmiths can pick it up, and they are an organization that control all the ships, basically. They're basically the space DVLA. Terrifying. The Hegemony techs have secured it, but because you are quite the wily coyote, you have hidden security overrides and ignition codes if you can get on board. You just need to get back to your ship before you can find, before the hegemony figures out what crimes you actually did commit. So,
Right.
2 days ago, you, Cecil, who we'll meet in a moment, received a message from an unknown benefactor in your meager rations. All it said was, be ready. 2 days. Today is the day you spring your plan into action. So, that's where we are. You have been locked up for a couple of days. Collectively as a crew, I think you've been dumped into a sort of group holding cell because Isotropa Max Secure is oversubscribed, full of crims. Bad crims. Mostly, probably just crims that didn't like what the hegemony were doing. Why don't we learn a little bit more about who is in this cell? And I think it'd be interesting if you could also add in your intro how you're currently feeling about being incarcerated, and how it might relate to your, let's say, actual level of criminality. You know, how fair is it that you've been locked up in? And I think we should start with Cecil Moondust.
Yes.
All right, well, I may as well just read you my little ditty. Because you can't take that away from me, Game Master. I will force a ditty upon you. Right. I need to take on an aspect of Cecil. Growing up with a middling imperial upbringing and falling directly into an endlessly bureaucratic corporate job far from home in the Procyon sector, aboard Cecil Neumann soon discovered the quick cash to be made with the criminal syndicates of his new world. Slow at first, then too fast was his slippery slope from permissible sticky fingers to orchestrating plans for major fraud. Years later, he discovered the human cost of his creative accounting. Aghast at his own actions and with the newfound desire to put things right, he took his vessel on loan from the syndicate, disappeared off-world and never came back. Now he looks for a way forward in the galaxy, out from under the machinations of the imperial corporations and the dangerous criminal syndicates. He yearns to make a name for himself, that maybe one day those in power will whisper in anger and awe. Cecil Moondust.
Terrific.
That accent's so good, it's definitely going to throw mine off completely. We'll end up slipping into that.
Who invited Taika to the party?
So, Cecil is basically someone who found that life was very boring, decided that he could make some quick cash, fell in with some syndicates, was pretty good at it, enjoyed it, and then realized actually the human cost of these criminal activities was actually a thing. It wasn't all just numbers on a spreadsheet. So he nicked one of the ships from the syndicate, the obscurity, and ran. And now he's kind of hoping to do the right thing. Doesn't really know what that is, because of course all he's known is the hegemony and the criminal syndicates. And also maybe just maybe at some point he has this romantic idea of being this suave sort of pirate criminal leader. So we'll see if that ever materializes. But yes, he probably would have, first thing would have been to gather some individuals that would help him achieve this mission and keep him safe from repercussions. And I think in terms of being in prison, I think he thinks it's very unfair. But I think he's very used to the monotony of corporate life, and so being in prison is probably not that much of a difference. I think he's coping quite well with the monotony and the regularity and the, probably cleaning towels, ironing towels duties and stuff like this. He's probably doing a bit of, come on lads, it's not all bad. If we iron 10 more shirts today, we get an extra ration packet.
Definitely irons his socks.
Every day, Job. Excellent. Who do we have next?
I'd quite like to follow that up.
Yeah.
and OP, shout out if these links don't appeal to you, but I think Nyvor Jibb might fit quite well into that story. So Nyvor was orphaned by hegemony military troops during a temporary but incredibly brutal occupation by the hegemony, and was sent to grow up on a hegemony-run communal farm, and ended up learning quite a lot of mechanics there, repairing and maintaining farm equipment, but was also starved and occasionally beaten by guards, and had no family because they'd been murdered, and generally had a really horrible time growing up. When he became an adult, they had a bunch of different potential approved careers they could go into, and he wanted to go and be a mechanic and a pilot for one of the mining and shipping guilds, and then spent basically, so that was when he was 16, and he spent 10 years as a various lower grades of cargo pilot, but proved to be highly talented at doing that. But because he was not human, and because he was he is from the planet Mem, which is sort of they have a lot of humanoid aquatic species there, but also basically he's to the hegemonic government and anyone from hegemonic society, he's a colonial. He's an alien. He's at very best second class. He felt he was basically just cut out of any progression or impressive conduct in the guilds. He couldn't get promotion, he couldn't get his own ship. He got spat on by lots of higher ranking human officials and pilots, and couldn't get his own ship. And eventually just sort of planned with a couple of other crew members from the large ore freighter that he was assigned to at the time. He basically ran a mutiny and took over the ship, flew it to a rim planet, sold all the cargo to syndicates, and then took off on his own, stole a small ship, and then was able to do spent another sort of 5 or 6 years doing a bunch of kind of pilot for hire jobs, taking contraband from planet to planet. So he's done a lot of small time crime in the last 10 years and not been caught for any of it. But will therefore feel pissed off about being in prison right now, but it's not altogether hugely different from his life growing up in what was essentially a forced labor camp. So he's very happy to plot escape. And I reckon that basically he might have been right there to be easily hired by Cecil from some drinking den on a rim world planet. Cecil's got a ship. He's not a professional pilot and wants to have wants to be the boss rather than the pilot. Nyvor's hanging around looking for some cash, hasn't got a ship right now, and maybe tagged along with Cecil for his first job, and then we got arrested.
Typical.
I also like the idea of actually, now I know that the starting situation, it could be that we're all strangers, because I think Cecil would be like, "Oh, you're a pilot, are you? I need a pilot for my new ship."
Yeah, and I think it is absolutely fine if you want to have it that way. I think perhaps you are a partial crew, but you've been lumped in together in this. I think you're really in a sort of holding area. You've only just been taken in the past few days for your crimes, which is why your ship is still in place. So you might be meeting some other. Yeah.
Also, Cecil doesn't want to be the boss. He wants to have a cooperative ship.
Sorry,
everyone is
I more
empowered.
meant I more meant he wasn't. He was in the market for a pilot. is the
Yeah.
point.
He's
Yeah.
He's more of a facilitator.
Looks wise, he is a fairly short for a humanoid, probably about like I don't know, 5'5", 5'6". Quite slight, purple-skinned, blue tentacles for hair that reach down to his shoulders, little pink tips. Big black eyes, like really dark, shiny black eyes. And he's wearing like an old beaten-up bomber jacket with the patches from his mining guild still on it, but kind of like faded and scraggly. And under that, like the undersuit from a spacesuit, with like little pipes hanging off and bits of lining that have come off, and it looks like it wouldn't. If he tried to put on a spacesuit on top of it, it would not work and hook up correctly.
Very nice. All right, we have our pilot, and then I believe it's over to not the muscle, but
The mystic.
how would we describe the mystic and the muscle?
Yeah. So, without further ado, if you can picture Thor when he was in his dad bod phase, very much washed up, right? As a reference point, scraggly, greying hair, 6 foot or so. He used to be strong and athletic when he was younger, but obviously now he's got a dad bod, bit of a beer belly, which is covered up by his tartan robes that he wears. He also fronts a false sense of pride with a mustache so strong it's the only feature that backs his charisma and self-belief in himself. His background, well, Flash Swordsong was raised in a noble house, tutored in the way, and spent many years honing his martial skill. He left home a young man full of wanderlust, wandering across the galaxy seeking a cause. When he came to meet a daimyo looking for loyal subjects to protect his holdings and people, he signed up, having to compete with other hopefuls, and his years of tutelage and training proved enough. He spent years in his daimyo service, protecting his holdings against bandits and pirates. So much so that Flash was engaged to the daimyo's daughter, set to join his family and strengthen his bloodline. However, Flash's love rival set him up, and he brought dishonor and infamy to the clan. Due to this, he was banished, set to wander the galaxy alone to find purpose and regain his lost honor. So, my kind of thinking was he found this, he left home and then found his kind of shogunate-like planet. So think of like very Japanese-y samurai vibes. And he was kind of working for the lord of the planet who run it or whatever. And his basically job was to like protect it and that kind of thing. And then, he got set up and then kicked out. And now he's just looking for work. And I imagine, obviously, as he said, follows through. He's been set up twice now, so he's not very happy. Not a very happy chappy.
When you said that to me, I really wanted to tell you about this one episode of Blue Eyed Samurai, but I wouldn't want to spoil it for anyone. So,
Suffice to say, if you haven't watched it, you must.
I've heard good things. I've heard very.
I will do. I'll start tomorrow.
Right. So we have the grumpy, twice set up samurai, Ronin of the Stars.
Oh yeah, the alias is the Wanderer.
And I think that makes a great segue over to Flint.
Right. Flint's story isn't really a complicated one. Ever since he was a child, he was basically indoctrinated into a blade masters, sort of like society. They ended up being sort of like militaristic. He was very good at his position, but he always had his aim set out quite high. He wanted to lead, not just be a part of a force. And his skills were quite formidable. In fact, he was able to climb a few ranks quite quickly. However, when it came to actually getting to the position of leading, he found out that he would have to personally take down his current leader to kind of like take his place instead of just allowing him to form his own crew. He did not want to do that, especially because he had a very good relationship with pretty much everyone in the crew. But it was pretty much an arena one-on-one gladiatorial match, which he was forced to either see through or die trying. He did, unfortunately, go through with it, but it scarred him completely because he used to be quite the honorable man, and he ended up trying his best to make his way out without alerting anyone or killing anyone, which obviously didn't work because as soon as he tried to escape, you can imagine that they sent forces after him because they don't want him to sort of like tell people about like trade secrets and the whole Blade Master Society. So he ended up going from a proud warrior into a wanderer, which is why I made that sound when you mentioned it, Flash. Running away basically from his responsibilities, running away from his own ex-crew and ex-friends, and trying to find his place in the world again.
Nice.
Excellent. Very, very good.
It's nice how we're
My
both
final-
very martial.
My final question is just to wrap up: who is already in the crew and who is not? Anyone who? So we is perhaps it sounds to me like maybe Nyvor, Jibb, and Cecil Moondust perhaps have become acquaintances already. Perhaps Nyvor is already Cecil's pilot.
That was my idea, but I don't want to upset any plans by Cecil.
I am incredibly upset, and so are my plans. No, I'm happy for. I'm happy for that to be the case. Yeah, maybe your first job piloting the obscurity was when we got landed in prison, and that makes you very upset with me because I'm the only changed variable.
A little bit, but I would also like it if like we're not entirely like Nyvor has got like a sneaking suspicion that he could have outrun the guard ships that like zapped us and caught us, and is feeling really pissed off and guilty and feel like he should have got us out as well.
Yeah, maybe my instinct was to try and reason with the enforcing body.
I like that. And
I
I
was
was
naive. I was naive enough to think that we could, well, we did nothing wrong. We can talk this out, and then of course you get thrown straight in the
You're wasting your time with these hegemon bastards. We have to get out.
No, they're people just like you and me, Nyvor. We can just talk to them,
I've got a bad feeling about this. That's my sci-fi quote.
Yeah. Flash and Flint, do you reckon?
I think
two lone
Flash
warriors in the same room. Dun, dun, dun.
I think it
Perhaps
makes
lone
sense for us.
warriors, but maybe they know of each other. Maybe you
Yeah,
both have a reputation.
I was gonna say, shall we just go with that? The fact we're brothers, we've kind of not spent that much time together. Apart from when we grown up, we kind of splintered off. But now we've found each other again in the same prison, and then we so happened to join the crew.
That works.
I think it's probably a good, tether, and then because obviously,
and then perhaps Cecil and or Nyvor know of you. In that way, maybe your reputation as this traveling mystic muscle.
I like it.
Duo. Yeah. Okay.
Is the right? Yeah. I imagine there's like a famed rivalry, though, maybe potentially between you two, like
surely
Blades of Glory style.
Okay, so I imagine
the Gallagher brothers, I would assume.
Because I mentioned Flash is like a washed-up samurai, right? So he's very much like drunken master in his way of fighting. So he's basically always kind of pissed, and that kind of carries through. So I imagine Flint's more, proud and uses
committed
technique.
To the technique, yeah.
Yeah, so we counterbalance each other quite like yin and yang, kind of.
I like it.
All right. So we have our setting. Now, what we're going to do is dive into a sort of... I'm going to precursor this by saying there is a second part to this. So this is like a mini job. So just when we get through some of our, we're going to do a little gathering information and stuff. Just roll through it. So, you've had word 2 days ago. You got this message, or Cecil got this message. Since then, I assume, and I'd like to hear how, Cecil has clearly approached these warrior mystics and enlisted their help in some capacity. I wonder how that would have gone.
Well, I've killed my. Oh, I'm back. How would I have approached these warrior mystics? I think Nyvor probably pointed them out because I probably have no idea about who they are. And I see them in the canteen. Maybe getting reacquainted. I saunter over there, put down my little space food tray. Is this seat taken, gentlemen?
Oh, hello there.
Hello.
No, it's not. Why didn't you pull up a chair, my laddie?
I shall indeed do that.
Do you care to introduce yourself first?
What was that? One more time?
Do you care to introduce yourself first?
Of course, my good sir. My name is Cecil Moondust. Perhaps you've heard of me and my ship, the Obscurity.
What brings you here exactly?
Well, how would you like to get out of this place?
I'm all ears.
Well,
How would you
certainly
also-
didn't plan on staying.
How would you also like to be part of my crew?
What kind of crew are we talking about?
Well, it's actually a very good crew because we're all kind of in a collective. So there's no one person in charge. So we all have an equal share of every bit of plunder, and you are free to run the scores that we do as you will. But of course, I'll have the last say.
Of course. What do you think, brother? This might be a chance for you to actually reclaim some of your honor back.
Well, Flint, I'm pretty sure we've not got much in the way of work anytime soon, and I don't have much plans other than staying here for the rest of my life. So a chance of escaping this hellhole would be fine by me.
Well, that seems like an easy decision then.
I think Flash is just nursing a hip flask. He's not touched any of his food.
Try to lay off the drink, just for a bit, see how that goes.
How did you get that in here?
Yeah, he pulls it from his underneath his clothing.
It's a weird Scottish little pouchy thing they have.
Have you never heard of the prison pocket?
Do they keep it there?
I've been trying to sweet talk the guards for weeks. All I've got out of it is a new pair of socks.
Well, are we
I
going
need
to talk
to
about
use
sweet talking? Or are we going to talk about in here?
Clearly, our new friend struck up a relationship with Dango Watt in cell 445. He makes hooch in his toilet. I've tried it. It's horrible stuff. But I have run out, so Flash, my name is Nyvor. Shall we sail our new friendship with a drink? By which I mean, give.
Reluctantly.
He holds out his purple hand and gestures, I want some.
Flash him obliges. To your health, good sir.
Absolutely terrible. Thank you.
And at that moment, one of the patrolling guards saunters by and says, "Oh, what have you got there, then? That doesn't look like your state-issued water ration."
Well,
Appearances
it's,
can be deceiving. And Nyvor pulls out from an inner package a cigar, quite beaten up, slightly leafy around the edges, but like holds out his hand to shake the guard's hand, but just so that the guard can see this cigar. Yes, appearances can be deceiving, can't they, D-Rock? I'm sure you'll say nothing more about it.
You know, I do believe the looks can be deceiving. That is a state-issued water ration right there. And he shakes your hand, takes the cigar, and saunters on as if nothing ever happened.
A good man, D-Rock. I've had a number of interesting conversations with him about philosophy over the last 48 hours. It pays to be friends with the men with the guns.
Well,
Couldn't
seems
agree
like
more,
you-
Nyvor. And by the way, chaps, this is my pilot, Nyvor Jibb. He's probably the one that got us into this mess, if I'm honest. Not too sure about him. You might have to try and find a new pilot at some point. But I feel like the best chance for us to get out of this hellhole is to work together.
Nyvor kind of grinds his jaws a little bit and then says, "Unfortunately, it is an employer's market at the moment. Always good to make new friends, though."
As your planning intensifies, I will now give you an opportunity to gather some information that might aid in your escape. Now, as we know, this stage can go a little on a little, so I'm really looking for... You think you're getting out of prison in a couple of days? You got any quick ideas of things that can help you? Have at 'em.
What do we know about... Did the note give any indication of what kind of... Okay.
You only know that in 2 days you will have an opportunity to escape.
Okay.
What do we
You
know
do
about...
know, I will remind you, you know that you have to get to your ship. That's your only way out. And that if you get there, you'll be fine.
Okay,
So
do we know anything about the
Presuming your
layout?
pilot manages to get you away.
Can we say we stashed equipment? Or smuggled it in somehow?
So, you know that your equipment is held in a secure room nearby. I think the those of you who have been incarcerated before, which is at least
Hello!
will have taken note of those things on your way in. So you know roughly the location of your equipment.
By the same token, do we know roughly the location of the hangar bay or where our ship is?
Yeah, you were brought from there, so you know roughly how to get back there, and you'll know that there are some security elements to get through. But as you haven't been taken into the permanent holding areas, you know that you're in about the best position to escape you could be, since you've not been shunted into the depths of the Supermax prison yet.
Can we say as one of our items we've kind of like persuaded one of the guards, or we've got an informant who's one of the guards and he's kind of given us a description of like the layout of the prison?
That sounds an awful lot to me like a gather information role, my friend. It sounds to me like you're trying to sway somebody, if that's what it's called.
Yeah.
Consort, perhaps?
It is a sway. I think it's in this...
Oh, no, there is still sway. There is still sway. It's at the bottom there.
I would like to consort. I already mentioned that I have been consorting with the guards.
You have been consorting.
For new socks. I would like to try and
Moondust.
I would like to try and get some sort of key card or method of bypassing doors. That sounds like probably the most important thing that we could try and get.
That sounds yes, that sounds useful.
And
so are you specifically trying to get a key card, or just any take what you can get, I guess, to help your means of escape?
Yeah, I don't know how many doors there are between us and the ship and our stuff, but I feel like whatever would be able to get us, whatever the lowly guards, I guess, could probably get through. Because I'm probably not going to try and I'm not going to try and consult with like a warden or anything.
For reference, the thing I was going to try and do is more or less the same thing, but by trying to do some hacking on some kind of terminal on a door, which would probably involve some stealth and some hacking. So maybe
so that sort of stuff you're not going to be able to do from your cell, but it is the sort of thing that you can do that you can do once you're out of your cell. So you're not going to be able to you're not going to have access to terminals from within your holding pen.
Yeah, I forgot that we were in a cell rather than like still in the
Free roaming.
Still in, well, we were doing the mess before, so I...
Yes. So so there's like holding cell, I guess, a mess area. There is some opportunity, but you're not good. You know, if I was to design a prison, I probably wouldn't put hackable terminals in the prisoners area.
Well, you're clearly not a video game designer then.
I am not. So, Cecil, you're consorting. You found a guard who you've managed to befriend quite quickly.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether even to do this as a flashback instead, to say that I've
you can
already
do it as a flashback.
I've been working on it and I've already got it.
Let's say that can be a flashback, but perhaps the information that you need could be just more about layout and security protocols, that sort of thing. That sort of stuff you might get in advance, right?
Yeah.
Maybe something like that. You want to do a consort? Do you want to do a sway then? A sway or a consort?
I like to do a consort. I've been chatting to the guards, trying to find the ones who seem the most chatty and most pliable. And one of them I've sort of latched on to. You know, found out all about their life, asked them all about it. You know, sympathetic. Also found out that they have a dream of their own to get out of this prison and start a new life somewhere, maybe with their family. And I promised them passage aboard the Obscurity and maybe even a couple of luxury items that they can use for money to get where they need to go.
So you've been chatting to this guard and conversations flowing. Oh, yes, sir. Oh, I would like to see the stars, sir. I do just feel that I've been locked up too long in this station. Yes. So long since I've met such a friendly face who seems so attuned to what I have in mind for my future. Go on, give us a roll.
I'm telling you, Perkins, you are completely wasted in this place. I can see a future for you on some distant planet, perhaps running a nice family bakery, or perhaps even a career on the stage.
Oh, I would like that, Mr. Moondust. Sorry, I should probably just call you Moondust. It's a bit improper to call you Mister. You're a prisoner and I'm a guard, of course.
Oh yes, Moondust is my special criminal name.
Oh, is it? How daring.
Right.
Position?
Position?
I love Perkins, universally.
The position is going to be risky.
Okay. Effect.
And the effect can be standard.
Ooh, risky standard.
Mm.
Cool.
First action roll of the day.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Hey.
Oh!
Smashed it.
Success without consequence. His first role as a player, ladies and gentlemen.
Give us a gambit dice as well.
Yes. Perhaps I'll put a little gambit tracker away on the screen for us at least. Which I can't see at all because I've made do that. Come on. Okay. So. Oh, it's a very compelling idea, sir. I'll tell you what, if you're going to get out of here, I think I'd quite like to come along with you. So I don't have all of the access for external escape, but I do have control of some of the internal doors, and I've got some information about them. I'll very much look forward to this life of adventure.
That's all right, Perkins. I have a crack hacker with me in my crew. He should be able to get us past any other doors. Well, hopefully he hacks better than he flies.
Oh,
It's
I
not
hope
even
it's sort of covered
I
in
don't
the
think
journey, sir. God, when did I start calling you sir? Not really sure about that anyway. Right. Very good, sir. Okay. Anyone else for A, gathering information, a very successful gathering information. Let's see if anyone can be just as successful or so unsuccessful they get sent straight down to Supermax.
Not exactly the information gathering type, to be honest.
Me neither, to be honest. What are the sorts of... I need to read the sorts of things I can do with rig, other than repair shit.
I would say, for this, especially for the purposes of this one, if you have something that you would generally like to achieve as a part of your prison escape, let's just roll with that. And remember, we're doing things that make sense, not just doing things that our characters are good at. So,
Yeah, of
any
course.
other information that you'd want for a general prison escape, here's
Mhm.
up. So
What
far,
kind of
you
information do
know-
we want?
Well, so far we can get out of the so-called internal doors. We need to get out of the external doors. I'm assuming that the hangar doors.
Yes. So
But-
you'll need to get out of the hangar. But you might not. I wonder. Maybe it's information you could get.
Well, trying to get some information about the patrol route, maybe. That would be a good thing to try to avoid.
Yeah. Maybe how to get
Unnecessary.
out of these other doors as well if we can't with the guard pass.
Maybe just information about the warden as well and how he runs his prison.
Mm.
Or would that be decent? Feel like just general knowledge on that.
Yeah. How are you going to approach that? Who are you
I
going to
think
talk to?
I think Flash would just be in the canteen, drinking away, and I think he'd probably approach a guard, and try and kind of butter him up a bit, offer him a drink from his hip flask. I imagine this is the item he smuggled in. Is like some nice whiskey, Scotch, of course, single malt, double barreled, twice, 18 years aged. Kind of saunters up. All right, laddie, care for a little tipple?
As I'll have you know, that's bribery, and I won't be so easily swayed by the prisoners as that wretched little rat Perkins. He says as he takes a sip. Mind you, it is quite good.
Well, I imagine my colleague next to me over there has a few cigars if you enjoy a bit of a smoke.
I will have you know I won't be bribed, but I will also take a cigar.
Well, this is a very nondescript flask, so the contents you can hardly tell from your eye what it is.
I really must talk to the guards at the entrance to this Supermax facility. It seems that it's an unusually high amount of contraband making it through quite freely.
To this one Glaswegian swordsman.
You've only been here for less than a week, and you already seem to have established a thriving black market.
I imagine it's like Julian from Trailer Park Boys, where he's always got a drink in his hand, and nobody even questions it. So that's just his thing. So, my friend, the warden here, what's he like? Could you tell me a bit about him? He's your boss, of course. I imagine you've been working here for a few years.
Well, would never wish to speak poorly about the warden, but quite the iron fist, warden. Quite the iron fist. Seems to be under a lot of pressure these days. A lot of guards needed all around the facility. Yes, we better tell you the truth. I've been run ragged.
Is that quite so?
Yes, it is quite so. I'm run ragged. I have a hard job. In fact, I'd rather be in there with you. I'm
What?
joking. I don't want to be in there with the scum, but
And why
And villain.
why do you think you're falling on hard times recently? Why the added pressure?
Just look at the holding cells, packed full of you vermin. There's so many prisoners coming in these days. There's hardly enough of us to even keep a watch.
Aye, we are packed in like sardines. I'd make a complaint to your HR department if you had one.
Yes, well, you can write a complaint on your ration tin and hand it into the kitchen. I'm sure somebody would give a shit.
Excellent. Flash just returns, just leaves.
Yeah.
Bye
So
bye.
you can perhaps make a roll for this. So, I mean, this is a great interaction. I almost forgot we were playing a game. Are we swaying?
Yeah, I got away with that one.
Yeah.
Do you want me to roll?
Mm.
Risky standard.
Yes, please. Who? I'm afraid then the information that you got out of that conversation will in fact be all that you got. But I suppose you could still take from that while you don't know much about like the patrols and how the warden runs the show, you do know, perhaps just from even the starting of the investigation, that the facility doesn't appear to be in full strength.
But he's a hard ass.
There will be a consequence, and I think there's only one thing for it, isn't there? We must have to start a clock.
What a clock!
Sci-fi
Now,
clock.
since I'm not, there are clocks built into this but they only live on a character sheet. So
Yeah.
it's going to be a secret clock.
There is a Scum and Villainy pack you can get that has all the maps and the clocks and tokens and
Yeah.
stuff, but it didn't seem like
And
worth
then I
it
thought, yeah.
for a
So
one shot.
there
Not
is a
yet, at
clock.
least.
It's a
That's
secret
it.
clock anyway, so you don't get to see it anyway. There we go.
Especially, I mean, I had already thought of this before that conversation concluded, but especially since we didn't maybe get as much specifics from that as Flash hoped. Nyvor was just gonna basically just try and watch the guards that he can see from his cell and survey and memorize some of the patrols as best he can. Might not be able to see very much, but if there's anything in the way that the patterns and timings that he can memorize and use to pick a better time for us to spring our escape, then that's what he wants to do.
Yep. Let's do it.
Which I'm assuming would be a study, in which I
to
have
me.
no points. Risky standard like the rest of it, or maybe controlled, I guess. There's nothing.
I think controlled, if you're just observing from your cell.
Although I suppose I shouldn't assume it's standard effect.
I mean, if the information you're trying to gather is information about patrols and nothing further than that, then at least in your immediate area, I think that can be standard.
Cool. Aww.
Oh no.
Yep. So you're aware that there are patrols. I think so. There is still a consequence, albeit not a bad one, for the position. I think that is it will advance the secret clock, but just a pip. Who knows? Who knows how many pips are on the clock? It's a secret.
Well, you know.
I know. Okie dokie. And Flint, anything that you wish to do?
Yeah, given the location where like Flash and the guard were talking, it was the common area, if I recall correctly. Would it be possible that Flint was basically eavesdropping and joined the conversation after Flash was unsuccessful?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what are you trying to find out?
So he's just going to try to press on what Flash was asking.
Okay, you're doing like a follow-up interview.
Yep. So it's because we need to learn more about, especially the warden and these like bodyguards and whatever he has. Yep.
Alrighty.
Uh,
So you
yeah.
swaying as well, consorting perhaps.
So I was going to go more for command because the thing is that the thing that Flint was going to try to do is basically. Well, I mean, I can just do it. But forgive me, but I couldn't help but overhear. It seems like you're a bit hesitant in helping a very obvious escape plan here. I do apologize for my brother. He's not the best when it comes to public relations, but what he's trying to say is that something is going to happen. And you seem the type of person who maybe isn't really his happiest here. What say you give us the information that we need, and when things get ugly, you can join instead of be left behind.
Ooh. Well, that's interesting. I think you'll have to roll a command roll. It's quite a gambit.
Harry.
So interesting. Well, it's definitely risky.
Yeah.
Could be more than risky, but we'll stay at risky. I think the effect is going to be limited though.
Mhm.
You are the prisoner intimidating the guard.
Yeah.
So if there's anything you wish to do about that, you may do. But it's going to be limited effect.
No,
Could
that's
I
fine.
assist?
You've already had your turn.
I'm following up on your part.
Now, bugger off.
All right, let's see. Risky limited.
Yeah.
Ah. Oh my god. Well,
The guard says, "It's quite interesting, actually. Rarely have I had the prisoners come and tell me that they're planning to escape. Yeah, and to threaten nonetheless. Interesting. Very interesting. Flint, I think that's a great piece of information. I think we might just need you to come and see me in my office later." And just walks off. Now that.
yeah, that was worse than I thought. Whoops.
Let's see. I wonder if
I will
that's-
remind everyone of all the game mechanics that you can use on rolls, such as pushing yourself,
Yeah, but
assisting.
I didn't.
I know,
I didn't
but
think that.
I'm just saying, just so we all remember to keep it in mind, and the gambits, and also you
Yes,
can,
gambits are one to not forget.
yeah, and you can resist any bad consequence as well.
Mhm. Yeah, I just didn't think it would make sense, like to start immediately pushing myself with this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one wants to do it on
Information
this bit,
gathering.
but it adds up. So, all right. So let me just see how that affects our clock, because it was risky. Thankfully, not desperate.
Sorry, guys.
It's fine. It happens. It's the way she goes, bud.
A 2-1-1 from my
So
first
that's
roll.
where we're at. Now we're gonna battle through an engagement roll as swiftly as possible.
Mhm.
So back to effectively the beginning of the job. So today is the day. There is a blare of alarms followed by silence. Darkness falls, and it will be a few minutes before anything but emergency lights turn on. In the commotion, a few cell doors spring open. Your gear is in a safe past the gate down the hall. The guards are confused, trying to find their way without lights. Drones that back them up are the real problem. So that's where we find ourselves. Let's do the engagement stuff. We love engagement rolls here.
I imagine desperate engagement is the drone is just smashing Flash and Flint to pieces.
It's just yeah. Flint has already been turned to paste.
Yeah.
Oh,
Flint was actually already taken to an office and beaten half to death.
Yes.
Actually, I shouldn't spoil us that good. Right, is the operation particularly bold or daring?
I'd say neither.
No, it's
You don't think trying to
you
escape
haven't
is daring?
really created your own prison escape. It's also not overly complex or contingent on many factors because it's also a complicated escape. So we'll find neutral on that. Vulnerability of the target. I would say that Cecil has exposed a vulnerability to find a way out. So we'll take a plus dice for that. Any friends or contacts? Not really relevant. And I would say, yeah, I'd say that's it. So, you have.
would you say the contact could have been the guard that Cecil's convinced to join us on the escape?
We've sort of included that within the.
Oh, okay. I see.
You're not going to get to.
Gotcha.
Oh,
Gotcha.
this is what it's like.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't think Mikey would be able to let me not ask, what's the tier of the prison and the guards and the drones?
Yeah.
Do tornadoes exist in this universe? Or...
Yes.
Hurricanes.
Yeah. So the tier of the prison guards are not sort of as a grouping high, but they are still going to be above you. So I think they'll be basically like tier 2. But what you do know is that they're not.
Yeah.
So anyone you fight is going to be higher. Which would give you -1 die. 1 dice?
I mean, that's, well, I tried Mikey, and the exact same thing happens to me as well.
Yeah, you lost yourself a dice.
Yeah.
So let's roll your.
We get +1 from our career special ability as well.
You get.
Oh yeah.
Is that what you took your ship? Plus
Yes.
one? Yes, that's why. There we go. That's why I told you. So you will, in the end, have 2 dice.
Oh,
Let's
sick.
do a Fortuna roll.
Good shout, Olly, with the crew special ability there. Definitely needed that.
All right, roll fortune.
We've doubled our
ready?
fortune.
Yeah. Well, as ready as we can be.
Can you roll a 6 on a fortune roll?
Oh, I definitely.
You can't do worse than I did, though.
I can! Huzzah!
Can't even see what they are. Oh, a 6.
It's
Whoa.
6 and a 5.
Yes, they're highlighted horribly, aren't they?
Yeah.
6 and a 5.
Beastie Boys.
Okay. So, the lights went out. The guards are in a state of confusion. No order has yet kind of taken shape, and you find yourselves reacting, responding, rushing out into the hallway. And in the hallway, there are no guards. You know they're around. You know they must be on their way. Guards must be hurrying to your position. There are also some of the other prison doors have opened, so there is a little bit of a commotion as other prisoners try to make their escape. So, no drama. You're currently not undetected, because people will be coming, but you're not under immediate pressure. How are you going to get to your gear and out?
Oh, were we all in the same cell, or are we in separate cells next to each other?
Well, we're out. We're all out now. All us.
So you're out. You're out in the open. I will even say that you've been able to locate the gear room, which is only down the corridor.
No.
Yeah, then in that case, I don't know about the rest of you, but Flint will be making a beeline towards the gear because it's quite important to him.
Yeah, we're heading right for that gear. But given that we're not already there, it does seem as though there might be threats along the way.
I expect that.
Who has?
So-
Does anyone have any? I have a point in skulk. Happy to lead a skulk action, group action.
Yeah, go for it. I don't have that. I'm good at scrambling and scrapping.
Yeah, I have no skulk.
Same.
I'm a scrapper.
So I could take a lot of stress for this, but
Just like to make a special call out to say that this song, when I was looking for the music for this, is actually called Orbital Prison Break. So
Nice.
decent.
that's convenient.
Perfect.
All right. Who's
I've got a
taking
special-
action?
I've got a special ability where I can spend a gambit instead of paying any stress cost. So could I use that to soak up all the stress taken by the group? That'd be a good shout.
Isn't it? You can push yourself and use a gambit or something like that. It's not just or was it just you can use it to absorb any stress?
My starting ability just says you can spend a gambit instead of paying any stress cost.
Yeah, fair enough. I would say I don't think that is what it's intended for, like soaking up miscellaneous unknown numbers of stress. I think that will be things like paying stress to do flashbacks, to do
Yeah,
push
fair.
yourself, to do so and so.
the new music is going hard again.
I like it.
It's loud again.
No, I like it.
All right. Are we skulking? We breaking in? Who's getting them weapons?
Well, I think Cecil is leading the skulk, right?
Well, I mean, you guys all sound like you're very club-footed. Sounds like a very stressful endeavour. Can I study the way ahead and try and find a path through the kind of the guards that I can make out in the gloom, and maybe try and find Perkins and be like, grab Perkins and get Perkins to lead us?
Yes, you may do that.
Great.
Perkins.
It's going to be risky, I think, because any amount of time you spend here is a danger.
Yeah.
But the effect can be standard.
Okay. I've got 2 pips, but I might use my gambit that I generated for myself on this.
You may. 1 gambit spent.
Right, success with a consequence.
Hello. Hey, that's my line. Right. Okay.
It doubles in
So-
this game. Does doubles mean anything, or is that one of the other games that I've been reading?
I don't think so.
Double sixes still.
Okay.
So you study the positions of the guards, and you do successfully manage to identify Perkins, who is blundering through the dark, trying to find his way to you without looking too suspicious. And he runs up. Oh, it must be the day, Cecil, is it? Are we getting out of here? I mean, is somebody getting out of here? It seems like there's a prison break.
Yes, Perkins. That's right. Just pretend that you're one of the guards. Pretend, look around and shout in surprise.
The consequence, of course, is that the time you've spent here was a little bit longer than you had hoped. It's hard to make things out in the dark, and couldn't find Perkins.
Yep.
So you do now hear the sound of footsteps beating down the corridor. However, Perkins can help you get your gear out of the wire.
Nice.
So you know that you have mere moments before some guards arrive, and you hear all of the clamour of a prison break. Everyone on every cell who's not opened is screaming. There are other types breaking out into fights, and there are other people who are just storming past you to get to wherever they can get.
Can one of the more gruff characters?
Chaos with Ed Miliband.
Can one of the more gruff characters say "one way out," please?
Yes, I think so. I think so. One way out.
So are we able to get our gear before the guards catch us then?
Yeah, I think so. The guards are storming down towards you, not in great force, but in a couple of pairs of them. But I would say with the level of commotion going on and the more violent prisoners breaking out, they are probably focused on more on that than whatever you sneaky little fellas are up to.
Right.
There's no time to sneak around anymore. Perkins, take us to the gear. Take us to our gear. Right now!
I really was waiting for get to the chopper.
Flint and
I really
flesh.
thought it was coming.
Flint and flesh, or flesh and flint. The F boys. Can you guard us from those guards, and then whilst we get your stuff?
But
Yeah,
of
do it.
course.
All right. So, Cecil and Nyvor engage in getting all their stuff. Let's not really worry about load rules at this time. You're getting everything that you brought with you.
Good.
In the meantime, our Flint and Flash.
Keeping an eye out. Yeah, I'd
so
imagine.
probably say you're facing an issue now from both guards and prisoners.
Are they? How close are the guards? Sorry.
They're like down the corridor, not that
Are
far.
they in eye shot?
No, I'd say there's a couple of winding corridors to pass, so you're not directly in eye shot of the guards, but you are in the path that broadly that the prisoners are taking, who are going out, and I think many of them will also know that they have.
Right, I'd imagine Flash is kind of just like there, not really keeping an eye out because he's blissfully unaware. He's just sipping away. Yeah, not really paying attention.
Yeah, Flint on the other hand would actually. Sorry, you're done.
No, yeah, gone.
Flint on the other hand will be paying attention, but he won't really do anything to prisoners. I mean, there are prisoners who try and escape themselves, unless the prisoners try to instigate something. But any sight of guards will be met with an appropriate amount of force if possible.
Yeah, I think Flash, as soon as if he lays eyes on the guards, he'll be raring for a fight. After all this time locked up.
Yeah, after all these, like, all this week in prison.
Yeah. Well, it's been a while, you know.
I'm just spoiling for a fight. Ah, it's 3 days.
Sounds like Glaswegian to me.
I need to regain my lost honor. By any means. If it means beating guards to a pummel, I'll do it. Pummeling guards to a pulp.
You managed to get your gear relatively without incident. I think Flash and Flint holding the door is enough to deter most of the other prisoners. Making your way with the assistance of Perkins, you find your way to the hangar. In all the commotion, you get pretty much all the way kind of untroubled. I guess you're just lucky. However, when you get to the hangar, you do see there are guards. There was surely never going to be a clean run out.
Yeah.
So 2 guards have stayed in post at the lock to the hangar, and they haven't spotted you yet. The dim lighting, but you will not be able to approach much further. Imagine just one of you peering around the corner of a door before you can get to the ship.
Who's peering? Who sees them? Moondust?
Yep.
Seems like it.
Do you relay that to us?
I'm an accountant.
I'm good at counting. Yeah. Maybe we see like down the corridor. We see that the Perkins says that's where we need to go to. Maybe that's the door that he can't get through. So the guards are stationed there. I say, right, Flesh and Flint, if you want to earn your spot on my ship, I suggest you remove that obstacle. But gently, we're not barbarians.
Come on, Flint, now let's show them what we're known for.
I said gently.
Flash draws his katana with a side blade, purple glowing side blade.
Woo!
Getting Darth Vader corridor scene vibes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And these 2 guards who are professionals, but are not. They're not the real army. Okay, so if Flash is going in.
We can go in together. Like we can
Going
take
in?
one each, or whatever.
Yeah,
it would
one
be
each.
for.
You can take one each. All right, let's do it that way then.
Wind wall.
Nyvor, when collecting the gear, Nyvor had made damn sure to secure and check the power pack in his blaster pistol, and had drawn it ready for this encounter. But then, as Flash and Flint like ran ahead with Flash going, "Hey, for the clan!" Nyvor was just like, "All right," like kind of shrugs his shoulders with the pistol, like, "Oh."
Yeah, I'm just making sure that all the luxury items that were confiscated, the Xeno luxury items that I had, are all in my stuff, so I can make sure to pay Perkins, like the weird Xeno pornography that I promised that should pay Fizz for the passage.
Maybe pilfering a couple of extra bonus items while you're in there.
Yeah.
Ooh, a lockup of everyone's criminal equipment. Mind if I do one? Very good. Well, Flash, I have a picture of you charging with your glowing sword down this corridor. The guard, Flint, by your side. Sounds to me like a scrap roll.
Yes, so...
2 swords done.
I've got a special ability. Side Blade. You can focus way energy into your melee weapon. While charged, the weapon can cut through non-shielding materials with ease. You gain potency on melee attacks. The last bit being the important part. As I mentioned in the kind of intro, he's Drunken Master. So if you picture Yoshimitsu in Tekken, he's not using his blade to fight. He's using the hilt to like batter and punch and jab.
He's got a side blade, but frustratingly, like Yoshimitsu, he never fucking uses it.
Yeah. And he's doing a lot of like, dancing around, or his fighting's like a dance. from his training, but also drunkenly putting them
Bringing
on.
back so many memories of me being like, just fucking stab him! Not burping on him!
Exactly.
Very good. Okay, well. Have at it.
So what does the potency mean in this game?
It's basically like it's a measure of how much effect you have.
Roger.
So it's basically going to increase your effect if you have more potency.
So risky?
It's definitely risky. So your effect. Let's get this right. So you actually Flint.
I'm trying to be non-lethal here as well.
Okay. So your side blade.
Because I'm good.
So
I'm a morally good character.
Let's see. So the guards are a higher tier than you. But you do have a fine weapon. So I think that's going to balance out to being standard. However, if you're attacking non-lethally in the way you described, bashing him with the hilt of your sword, I don't see you getting any benefit from your side blade ability. So I think it's going to remain standard.
That's fair.
Yeah, fair. Fair.
Yeah. Also, like normally when we do this in Blades, normally it's like Silas fights and then Lorenzo assists, and that's a good way to get a higher effect rather than two people fighting at limited effect. So, don't know, Flint, if you would want to assist as kind of like a group action-y kind of thing.
No. Well, I mean, in that case, if we're going to do it that way, then maybe it would make more sense for Flint to engage in this fight, because my ability is that I can push myself to engage a small gang on equal footing in close combat.
That sounds familiar. Bastards.
And he's got two swords.
Well,
Yeah.
Silas is going to have two swords next week as well.
It probably makes sense then if Flint's doing most of the sword work and then Flash is just annoying them by being so like.
That sounds better. Yeah. Okay,
Alright.
then Flint.
Do the roll. Take a dice, and I'll take 2
So
stress.
Flash is
Right?
going to assist. Flint, you're pushing yourself to have your unstoppable. Yep, and you get +1 dice. And then I see you've also
Yes. Wrecking
also
Crew.
got another special ability to assist you in combat.
Yeah, whenever I strike in melee, I gain +1 die.
Yeah, very good.
That's
Okay.
3 bonus die.
It's
So
gonna be
what's
4
the
die.
yeah? So what's the position?
It's going to be risky standard unless you trade position for effect, because you've got your fine vibro blade.
What do you think?
But yeah, you're going to have your 2 dice, 2 bonus dice.
Let's keep it risky standard with 2 bonus dice. Are you joking?
Oof.
That is a big Earth moment.
What is happening?
Jeez.
Ouch. Can you use gambits after the fact?
I don't have any gambits though.
It's a shared resource, so we've got.
Oh, it is.
Yeah. So everyone's got gambits. There are 3 available. I'm gonna double check on gambits, just because it would be.
That is
I'd
horrible.
hate to make
That
a
is-
call not in favour of. Like,
That's horror. That's a horrendous
That's a
roll.
Remarkable.
But we embrace failure.
I think the book says if you have 3 dice, or if it's 4 dice, I can't remember, you have an 87% chance of success. So
Well, I'm sorry. I tried again.
that's how it goes. That's exactly. Okay, just checking on gambits. You spend a gambit during an action roll. That's a little bit vague.
I just remembered. Sorry, go on.
Well, it doesn't really say, and I think in the interest of actually getting us to use gambits and remember to use them, why don't you add a gambit on now?
Okay. So spin the gambit, and I'll add 1 more die. So I'll do it again.
Just roll one more die.
Yeah. I give up.
Well, that's how the dice gods work, I'm afraid.
I just give up.
We know this well, Warhammer players. If you ever re-roll a dice,
Yeah.
it's always a failure. Okay, well, unfortunately, this scrap continues, and I think perhaps Flash's drunken master footwork, perhaps it hindered Flint as much as it hindered the guards. Perhaps Flint stumbles as he strides in to strike masterfully with his blades.
And this is the exact reason that we departed from each other's company all those years ago. Reunited and it's already bad.
Yeah,
It does
Why it never worked out.
your dishonourable
That's-
fighting method.
Come on, Flint, put in a bit of fucking elbow grease. Come on, laddie. Fight harder, laddie. Come on.
You say from the floor.
Neumann is the drink.
I'm afraid you're going to have to take yourself a level 2 harm there.
Yeah.
Blaster wound.
Yeah.
To the arm, I would think. A grazing shot. Not quite. Well, not like sort of a... It's not going to utterly impair you, but masterful movement. All right, well. Now what? Maybe
Right.
Flash.
We tried honorable melee combat, and it didn't work. Nyvor levels his blaster pistol at one of the guards, and yeah, goes for the eyes. Boo.
I'll add my blaster shot to yours.
Also, I don't know if this affects it,
Assist.
but a part of my ability is that if I use a gambit in combat, there's a +1 effect on the action. So I don't know if that affects anything for you in your case.
Would have been terrific if you'd managed to roll a single 4.
Yeah. Well.
Um,
Woo.
okay,
Sorry,
so
go on.
it's so unfortunate because there's nothing more Daryl than taking quite an optimized character and then getting absolutely shagged by the dice.
I'm back.
Yeah.
He's back, baby.
But your
Right, so
second
Nyvor's
character is
hitting-
ready to go, right?
Always ready.
Always.
Nyvor, we're taking a shot then. I think that's all just going to come under scrap.
Yeah. I double
with
checked.
Cecil assisting, laying down covering fire.
Yeah, I can tick off a blaster pistol as well to kind of fire wildly. It's like, well, I'd rather you die than Flint dies. I've already made a deal with him.
It's so good to have a good contract.
My first stress.
So I might push myself for this because my Leaf on the Wind ability says when I push myself, you can spend 1 extra stress, so 3 total, to gain both +1 effect and +1d instead of one or the other. And I feel like since we're up against guards that are higher tier than us, that's probably worth it here, especially if we fail for another round, someone's going to take another level 2 harm. So, and like a leaf on the wind. And I'll fire into the melee. So, that means it's still risky.
Yes, and you're going to start at limited because yours is just a blaster pistol.
That makes sense. So I start at limited. I'm going to go up to standard. And I'm going to get an extra dice.
And
An extra 2 dice, because I get 1 from Cecil helping me out.
While you do that, quick question. Part of the equipment that I had, like this is what I ticked off initially, I have 2 pieces of armor. Would I be able to use those to remove that one?
Yes. Well, you can expend your armor to reduce it to a level 1.
Yeah, but I have 2 pieces, so can I spend both points just to remove the harm?
If it's the same as blades, it takes up 2 slots of your load, but it's just 1 tick of armor. And
Okay.
The armor. So you expend
Alright.
1 use of that. Or like
Yeah, I'll
complete
do that.
armor. Okay,
Okay.
in that case, you can reduce your harm to blaster graze.
Cool, thank you.
No problem. Right, we've got a successful roll. With a consequence. So, you managed to take down both of these guards successfully through a combination of pinpoint blaster fire and round the corner. I don't really want to be here fire. The consequence is that you hit something important in one of these systems somewhere. So you managed to kill the guards, or wound the guards. I don't know if you were shooting to kill. I'm not sure if Cecil was aiming. But the guard's taken down. But you trigger a big alarm. Basically, like obviously there's an alert going on in the prison in general. But like this is a major issue that someone is clearly attempting to breach the hangar. So maybe even it's actually that one of the guards manages to put in a distress call in. It goes down. So
very fine shooting, Captain. I'm sure that door terminal really got it.
You don't have to call me Captain unless we're on the ship.
Well, at this rate, we never fucking will be.
So, fortunately, the guards of the hangar door can control access to the hangar door. So, having eliminated the guards, and with Perkins' assistance getting their access codes from their whatever got on them, you managed to get out into the hangar. You managed to get onto the ship. Cecil inputs his secret passwords and codes. What might Cecil's... I like to think that Cecil gets on the ship and says, like, override code, and says something incongruous to override all of the shipwrights controls.
Aubergine dinner tray chocolate bar.
I think it's his favourite space whiskey, which is the best one he's had. It's kind of like the one you'd probably get at most pubs, like the nicest one you get at a pub. Not like a really nice one, but like, you know, Spoons would have it probably. And he's like, oh, that's a good one, that one. I've had that many times.
Can we say that
Like
it was brewed on...
Glenmorangie.
That's the one. Yeah.
Can we say it was brewed on Flash's planet? Home planet?
Yeah, sure. Mass produced.
A wise choice.
Right.
All right.
You put in the override codes.
Mm-hmm.
The clamps release. The hangar door opens. And you are away.
Praise Zaruk.
It's obviously not all plain sailing, though, since you are leaving an orbital prison. It's going to require some invasive flying to make it out.
Oh. Not out of this yet, kid.
As the laser cannons on the orbital platform track you, will be up to Nyvor Jibb to ensure the crew escapes without harm.
Did Perkins make it?
Perkins did make it, because Perkins was
Okay,
with you during that time. He helped you get through. You get on the ship.
It's not like
This is all very exciting, sir. But I must warn you, sir. I can hear lock tones, sir. Just wondering if you planned on doing anything about that. I do like the cut of your jib, sir.
I don't know what that means, Perkins, but here, let me show you to my ship library.
Did someone say my name? My name is Jibb.
Well,
Anyway,
why don't you see
sit
if
down,
you can
shut up, crap in.
dry?
Somebody get on the guns. This is going to be quite a bumpy ride.
Yeah, I could get into guns, yeah.
And Jibb jumps in the pilot seat,
Jibb jump.
straps in, starts flipping switches, getting everything operational, getting a feel for the controls again. This is your captain speaking. For now, strap in, sort yourselves out. I need somebody watching the shield controls, somebody on every single goddamn fucking gun we have on this boat. Let's go. He fires up the launch boosters and tries to get to full throttle straight away. Like we're shooting out of the hangar as fast as we possibly can. And yeah, trying to track where the pattern of the laser blasts, and simultaneously avoid those and lock onto the nearest location we can jump from, assuming we have some kind of warp capacity. Is that a thing?
No warp capacity for the ship. Most ships in this world are system runners, so you will have to manually get yourself out of range.
Okay.
Nothing so easy as getting just out of earshot and going zip. But you are an ace pilot, so why don't we see what happens when you roll pilot?
Will do.
One,
Bad
one,
news,
one,
passengers. We don't have any jump capacity on this tub. It's going to be a rough ride out of this system. So, helm. A roll helm. It's going to be at least risky, if not desperate, presumably.
It's going to be desperate. Laser cannons track you. The only thing worse than a dead prisoner is an escaped prisoner. I don't know, something like that.
Right. What's your name? Flint, isn't it? Get those guns trained on the turrets and see if you can take out a couple of them. Make my life easier.
Leave it to me.
And see if I can get a support from Flint.
You can.
Certainly can.
Effect.
Effect will be standard.
Okay.
So when I'm assisting, do I take the stress, or in this case, does Jibb take the
You
stress?
take 2 stress in order to assist.
Done. I'm a
Um,
stressful boy.
I'm not gonna push myself again. So let's see how this goes.
Remember you have gambits?
Remind me how add a gambit to your crew when you roll a 6 or a critical.
+1 dice.
All right.
So you are down to 2 now, but also up
I feel
to
like
you
this
if
is
you think getting
a
shot
moment
out of the sky is a good situation to use one or not.
Yep.
This may be a moment to use a gambit, so
Yeah.
I'll do that. And therefore I have 2 extra dice on this. Ciao. Yes!
Nice.
I recharged the gambit straight away. Sick. So yeah, we're dipping, we're diving, we'd do a little mini barrel roll to avoid a particularly chunky looking laser bolt. Flint probably shoots out at least 2 or 3 of those cannons mid-maneuver, and put an extra boost of speed in at the end of this particular run. You can hear quite a lot of the ship starting to kind of groan and shake because it's not used to doing these kind of evasive maneuvers. But yeah, it goes well is all I can say, and then the GM can describe what happens next.
Indeed. So as you shoot out of the hangar, I think you probably even notice that some of the anti-ship defenses are non-functional. Those that are functional are some of them again taken out by some nifty shooting. But as you deliver on your 5 Ds of prison escape, which are obviously dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge again, you dodge and weave through laser flyer into an asteroid field of some sort.
Gonna say. That's not a 6.
Into an asteroid. Let's take a completely unintentional, terrible pause. Managed to hide yourself in an asteroid field. There are no pursuing ships because it's a station. They don't have the kind of craft to contend with yours on a hand, and they have a larger breakup to deal with. So you make it out. Huzzah!
Huzzah.
Huzzah!
Cecil, like after the commotion finishes, and Cecil, like you see, like a terrified-looking Perkins, and then Cecil comes out of his built-in wardrobe with this kind of old leather flight jacket with like some emblems on. And he's like, I found it. This is my antique space pirate jacket. Never fly without it. And Perkins just looks terrified and confused, because my vice is luxury, and I care more about my lovely things than the safety of my crew.
Nyvor says over the intercom, like, okay, we're out.
Right. Well, we best crack on because there's more to do, and I believe, Lawrie, are you still constrained by a 5 p.m. finish?
Yes.
Well then, we'd better make haste because as is the way. That took a little longer than planned, maybe because we started. So
Yeah, sorry, that might be my fault.
no, it is how it goes. So, what I'm going to say is I'm going to just trim down the downtime. There wouldn't have been that much to do anyway, but so your level 1 harms are cleared anyway, and I think you can clear your stress as well, assuming that you would have indulged your vices during this time. If anyone who's got stress might just want to share what their vice is and what they've been doing, but we could just assume that you have recovered from the stress of escaping. Perhaps the sheer relief of not being incarcerated was enough to make you feel just fine and dandy.
I think Cecil is reacquainting himself with all of his fine, luxurious goods on his ship, and that is enough to clear my 1 point of stress.
Yes, that should do it.
And also, like, trying to get a terrified Perkins to pick, one item of his choice, as was agreed. And being like, actually, no, I want to keep that, actually. What about this? It's a very fine book that I have.
Yes, a book. Graphic novel, is it?
I don't know how rare paper is in this universe, but in Warhammer it is very rare.
Yeah, I can't say I came across that one.
Typical this system style. It's probably up to the group to decide.
Well, let's not dwell too much on the availability of paper.
Just call it Bundle of Mifflin, mate.
Yeah, well, if not, it's just anyone who's read the Kane books will be familiar with Jurgen's porno slates. Effectively, basically everything lives on a data slate. Effectively, I think he's just got a lot of PDFs on his iPad.
Yeah.
Well, without internet, everyone has to have their porn stored in memory again. Can't keep it on the noosphere. Nyvor, his what's the word? Vice is faith. He holds slightly embarrassed and therefore secret faith in a god I made up from Mem called Zaruk, and likes to indulge in secret prayer to Zaruk when nobody's looking, and give thanks for luck and pray for more luck, which I'm going to say is canonically the reason why we're so lucky.
Excellent.
Nice.
And you have been quite lucky.
You have?
Olly, would you say you have a bar on this ship?
Probably a bar section, like a little cabinet, yeah.
I think Flash has gone straight away as soon as he's got time to make himself His favorite cocktail, the Flying Scotsman. Which is just the
Spacefaring Scotsman.
Tell me,
which
Flesh,
is
what,
just-
what exactly is a Scotsman?
um,
Why is it flying?
it's from an old tale from my people. But yeah, he's raiding your drinks and just helping himself.
Hmm.
I think he might even offer you one.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever had a flying Scotsman before, so.
So,
Nice.
it's been a few days since you escaped, and perhaps you are all sharing a drink and wondering what your next move is. And of course, there is a hail for communications. Unexpected, as you had not detected the approach of a ship that might be able to make communication. And for whatever the bridge is like on this ship, someone must answer a call.
What's that racket? Somebody turn that bloody noise off.
I'm going to go straight to the cockpit, perhaps.
Ooh, yes. So does Jibb answer?
Say again?
Does Jibb answer the phone?
Yes. Jibb answers the phone. Yeah, we will answer the hail. Moondust, you'd better get to the cockpit. I think we have a conversation to have.
All right,
New
patch
friends,
it,
no
patch it
doubt.
through to the PA system. I'll take it in my library.
Oh, God. Oh, Zaruk, why have you cursed me with this job? He pulls a couple of switches and says, Captain, you're ready to take your call in your library now.
So the call is patched through, and I wonder what the comm system is like in this level of tech and society. But I think perhaps a little hologram type call would be nice.
Makes sense.
And Cecil, you are you see a face you immediately recognize as Manda Bartok, a guild member from your past, pops up and says, "Well, it isn't good to see you again, Cecil. See you've managed to make your escape."
Oh, Menda. How nice to see you. How's business been? I've been a bit out of the loop recently. They don't really give us much information when we're inside the maximum security prison that I just escaped from.
Oh yes, business is very good, thank you, Cecil. So good of you to have made your escape. The guild very much appreciates your ingenuity, and in addition would be obliged to inform you that it wasn't just your ingenuity, I believe, that got you off that little rock. I believe there was an opportunity provided. Well, it must be no great surprise that that opportunity was provided by the guild. And now the guild will ask you a favor in return.
I think Cecil is like just toying idly with like a space chess set that he has beside his nice chair, and has completely forgotten about the whole getting help from escaping bit.
And naturally, right? Just
Yeah. It's
Oh,
like
it's
chalk
so
that
good.
one up to my brilliance. And says, "Oh, that was you, was it? That was very, very, very helpful to facilitate our escape. Probably moved our schedule of escape up by probably at least a week."
Yes, well, you have been known to take flight, escape your responsibilities in the years that I've known you quite adeptly. But While you owe the guild no great debts for your initial escape, we will have to collect upon this one. But I must say, I'd like to tell you a little bit more about it if you would invite me to your ship.
Ooh.
Why, yes, of course. Come and have a drink. We can catch up about the old times, and I can introduce you to my new daring crew. Fludge or Flidge and Flack or something, and his brother.
Oh yes, it does sound like quite the burgeoning little empire you have going on there, Cecil. I think your escape from corporate life is paying dividends. I look forward to meeting Fludge.
I'll set out the tea.
Presumably Perkins has immediately moved into the role of waiter and all-round
Cabin
dog's
boy.
body, having been sold a life of adventure.
Yeah, I think he probably doesn't want to bring up the fact that he's too awkward to bring up the fact that we promised him to drop him off somewhere to start a new life. So, yeah, and Moondust is not going to bring it up either. So
He's going to develop Stockholm syndrome in his face.
A prisoner.
So, Amanda comes aboard your ship, and you are met with every bit the aristocrat type. The Guild are a very powerful organization, one of the most powerful in the entire sector, and it is their purview to control the flow of these ancient. Manda is not some senior, all-powerful guild member, but one of the representatives in this region of space. And she comes aboard, dressed in an ornate headdress and glittering jewelry and finery in that sort of space aristocrat way. Actually, I think the Bene Gesserit from Dune are a pretty good reference point here. In that sort of spacey, wacy finery. She comes aboard, joins you in the library. It's so good of you to have me aboard. And she is followed by a giant, brutish bodyguard. Don't mind him. This is Thrace. He used to be with the Ashen Knives, but we pay better, and he still gets to kill quite a lot. So anyway, he likes tea, so pick some up.
Right, I don't think I've got a teacup big enough. I mean, his hands are quite big. Are they quite? Is he quite delicate? Can he hold an expensive cup? No bother if not.
We have our fair share of expensive cups aboard our guild ships.
Excellent.
And he's not broken one yet. He's quite deaf.
Excellent.
I
I've
bet he is.
taken on a couple of brutes myself recently. I need to make sure they can hold cups as well. Anyway, what would you like to talk about?
Well, I suppose I'll cut to the chase. Your crew is required to fetch an artifact for the guild. Now, I know what you're going to say. I've left all that behind, and I'm not a petty thief, or something like that. I don't know. I don't really care. I hear you're something of a bleeding heart these days. Something, the downtrodden. I don't know. So, the reason I've come to you for this job is that there's a mutual benefit. You will acquire an artifact from me, and in turn, the guild will further the causes that I'm led to believe you favor. On the planet Mem, you may be familiar in this sector. Horrible place, ocean world. Ugh. And then she notices Nyvor. But doesn't, you know, when you like, she like looks at Nyvor and then kind of doesn't care that she's made a faux pas. Well, you may know that the Memish have been engaged in some sort of civil unrest for some time, something to do with the governor being quite the slave driver, I believe.
You're
Anyway.
referring to the quest for self-determination and independence for the Memish people.
Yes, that I think. Well, good for you.
Not
Anyway.
currently.
We have little interest in the self-determination of the Memish people, but we do require this artifact, and the governor, he goes by rolling.
I'm getting big Silco vibes.
Wrote it down somewhere. Victor Cromwell. Well, he's the governor of the planet, and not much liked by the Memish. He's taking delivery of an artifact in just a couple of days. Now, here's the deal. If you acquire this artifact for us, you can guarantee that it will not be used in any way against the Memish. But because we are most generous, we will also work to further their cause by using our contacts to work on having Victor removed from his seat. The guild has some options about the seat installed.
And
I think-
who will replace him?
Excellent question,
Well-
Nyvor.
That rather sounds like something that's above your pay grade. If you must insist, it will be a more guild-approved member. Someone who will get more out of the Memish workers than Victor currently does. I do not believe in the guild that this iron fist rule is effective. Not good for business. So you can trust that we will have someone more to your liking.
I am not certain that I can. But mine is not the deciding factor on this ship.
Well, certain though you may not be, you can be certain that if you do not help us, you will be both indebted and not furthering the cause.
Come on, Nyvor. It sounds like your people might get an extra couple of scuttled fish for dinner every night if we do this. It's better than nothing, eh? Little steps.
I have to go and check on some controls. He just like you walk. He sort of stalks out of the library, goes back to the cockpit.
Yep. Yeah, I think Cecil's like the white moderate to your civil rights movement, where he's like, it's we did a good thing here today. We don't have to think about the Mimish now for at least a couple of months.
Yeah, and it's great. We got paid as well.
Yeah. Win-win.
Well, it certainly sounds like a just cause. You can
Fine.
count on my blade. And my axe.
And my kilt.
Very well. So, for the people, I suppose. We will send over a briefing document with everything that we currently know. We leave the rest up to you.
Well, yes, please do. We'll try and get this artifact for you. We've heard some nasty things about this governor, so it'd be good to see the back of him.
Oh, and one more thing. I must insist that when you retrieve the artifact, you deliver it to us. I certainly wouldn't recommend using it. Maybe quite you. So, unused, will.
Of course. Whatever you acquire, Menda.
Oh, it's just been so good to see you again, Cecil. I'll see you in a few days, I suppose.
Oh yes, please. Let me walk you to the airlock. It's got a little red carpet runner from the library to the airlock that he put down. I like to think the bodyguard just like crushes the teacup when the meeting is concluded.
And it's like a thimble. It's like seeing Shaq with a bottle of water. He's like,
yeah. It's like jeez.
So, this is the information you receive in your briefing, and then the question will be, can you do a score in an hour?
I can if we need, like, cancel what I need my appointment if we want to. If we want the extra hour or so.
We could also keep going with 3 people as well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna definitely need to be done by 5:30, though.
Okay. Well, I reckon we can get through bits and hasten other bits. It might have been ambitious to have 2 parts to this, but didn't think you'd just want to have first bit. So, this is the briefing that you get. An artifact, which is not described in any way. Artifacts are pretty. They're not the more advanced ones are not well understood, but some of them are exceptionally powerful. So you don't know. You must assume this is quite a powerful and potent art. So the artifact is being shipped, has been found in a mine. It's being shipped to the spaceport on Mem. Mem is struggling with civil uprising and things, and so it's the perfect time to do this sort of thing. The artifact's going to be in the spaceport for a very brief window of like a few hours or a half day in between it arriving, having to kind of be processed there, and then it will be transported to the governor's palace. And Mem, in fact, I don't have an actual picture of Mem, but I have a picture of something that I picture Mem like when I read about it. Show 2 players. Something like this, but less idyllic. It's a proper like ocean world where it exists partially above land, but much of it also is like underground cities and things. Not like Atlantis, I think, because it is largely still humans in this universe, but like underwater spires and things like that. Right. So you know that this is the window of opportunity. So you know that your best opportunity is to take it while it's at the spaceport, but there is also an opportunity to take it in transit, and that is up to you entirely. Anything else I wanted to tell you now, or the West I might save to see what information you gather?
So are we going to be like actually on the water, as in like a Bioshock kind of thing, or is it just like going to be above water for us?
So the spaceport is above land, and so is the route to the governor's place. But there will be water around, I suppose, in that route.
So it looks a bit like that the planet at the end of Rogue One.
Yeah,
Gareth.
Okay.
Yeah, Scarif. Yeah.
So you know the planet, you know the location, you know the time, you know the artifact, and you know, generally speaking, that there is an ongoing kind of civil thing where you got this cruel governor, you got the Memish people who are like being oppressed, and it's there's probably opportunities to exploit there, and that's one of the reasons the guild wants to take this. So let's gather some information, and I think actually probably the first thing you want to do is, well, maybe you can decide this as part of your gathering information, but decide if you are effectively having a heist of the spaceport, or whether you are attempting to take this thing in transit.
So here's what's entering my mind. And it relies on how the artifact is going to be transferred to the palace, whether it's on land or on sea or in the air. But I want to do the train job episode from Firefly, and fly the ship over the thing that's transferring the artifact and literally jack it out the top and then fly away.
Yeah, and to build on that, in the spirit of copying more Firefly, can we say that part of the shuttle that is being carried in are some Memish POWs?
Yeah.
Who we can try and liberate?
I think that can absolutely be a part of the plan. And I think if we're just to further that Firefly reference once more, and funnily enough, the first thing I thought when I was like, what are we going to do, was that episode of Firefly. And then I didn't actually think about it again until now, because I thought you guys would probably want to do the heistier version. But to further it, and I think you can probably know this without a gathering information roll, there'll also be some hegemony troopers guarding it in transit. That's there's my free bit of gathering information for you. You do know it will be more heavily guarded in transit by some, not like super soldiers, but like fairly high level guards.
I think as soon as Manda leaves the ship, and the ship's a good distance away so that they can't hack us or whatever, I go to Nyvor in the cockpit and I say, Nyvor, I want you to put me in contact with some of those freedom fighters down on Meme. I don't think Manda should be able to get this artifact.
Nyvor doesn't turn around and respond immediately. He kind of keeps tinkering with the panel that he's fixing. And then after a couple of seconds, he stops, turns the chair around slowly and looks at Cecil and goes, "First, I was gonna do the fucking Taika Waititi voice. Firstly, my name is Nyvor. Not Nyvor, not Nuvor, not Nuvir, Nyvor. Secondly, the Memish are not a psychic race. I cannot communicate with people on the surface just by dint of being the same race. What are you assuming?"
Well, no, I assumed that you'd have some sort of friends or family, or I mean, you care about this civil unrest, don't you? I thought you'd know ways to get in contact with them.
So I can add something for you here, Nyvor, just for your information, that you would know that one of the prevalent organizations likely to be involved are the Cobalt Syndicate, who started out life as a labor union and are now more than a labor union, perhaps with some crime involved, but they use that to further their own agenda. So you would know that they are also involved, so there may be ways for you to contact those things.
Indeed. And in actual fact, Nyvor is a lapsed member of said syndicate, having done some work for them in the early stages of the uprisings, before things got particularly bloody, and then having kind of skipped out with some moral reservations to make more money elsewhere and not die. So he does have contacts in that organization, and he can contact them, but he wasn't necessarily immediately going to tell Moondust that. However, after Moondust just said that, Nyvor stays silent for a while, for a few seconds, and it looks like he's sort of thinking, considering what to do, and then says, "All right. Leave me. Give me 10 minutes. I'll get some coordinates for us to look at."
Nice. And I think I will express my syndicate heritage or background, and basically say, like, yeah, there's probably some sort of like cell leader who we should try and get in contact with, like the local cell leader who would be able to have like troops in the area that we can use maybe to help us jump this train.
Well, I'd say that you can use that background information to, if not set up a meeting, set up some sort of digital communication. I don't know. Maybe it is a meeting, because it's all a bit underhand.
Yeah.
And you do arrange a meeting with a Cobalt Syndicate representative. Perhaps it's down at sort of one of the workers' pubs, where perhaps they would like to hang out, but you wouldn't. and you're given instructions to wait at a certain table. And after some time passes, a surly-looking gentleman with short white hair and a blue line tattooed straight down over his left eye, making him very, very clearly a member of the Cobalt Syndicate. And you notice actually when you're in there that you see some people with a blue stripe on their clothing, indicating membership. And he sits down and says, "Well, hello there. You must be the hoity-toity noble who's going to be helping us win the revolution, I suppose."
I'm actually not a noble. My father made Brit. But enough about me. Yes, I would like to be able to help you. My friend Nye here was happy enough to introduce us. We have learnt of some sort of artifact that your terrible governor would like to use to suppress your peoples even further. We don't know what it is, but he wants it, and the guild wants it. My proposal is we take it and give it to you, but we may need help getting it first.
Well, that does sound quite amenable. Hey, good to meet you. My name is Castor Vexilla.
Yeah.
I hate that guy!
I should Flint, kill him quickly.
You still want to work with him?
Damn it, Castus Vix.
Seems like quite an amenable arrangement. Interesting that you seem to know of this when we did not. I do wonder where you got your information from, Gildy.
Well, I'm happy to tell you that one of my contacts told me about its presence. They want it for their own ends, of course. The important thing is, I'm taking on much danger to secure it for you instead. And then I think Moondust is going to try and consort
Very good.
with Castus and his lackeys. Castor, sorry.
Different character.
And basically trying to secure as much enthusiastic help as possible from the Cobalt Syndicate.
Yes. Very good. Consort and take a +1 dice, I think, because this is a very compelling offer. You've come to them with information furthering their own agenda. They are certainly amenable.
Yeah. Can I get any bonus from my syndicate background, or do you think I've already used that?
No, I think you can get them both because they're sort of from different purposes. What I think we should do is maybe even flip it so that like +1 dice for syndicate and +1 effect for basically +1 of both for the
Nice.
dual benefits.
Position and effect then.
I think the position is. I think it's controlled. I think it's doesn't pose a great risk to you to do this, and the effect. I feel like the effect is potentially. I can't give you a controlled great. It doesn't feel right.
I have Nyvor there with me, so he's like, shows that I'm.
That might not necessarily be a plus, though, because Nyvor kind of skipped out on the revolution.
You're my token memish.
I think what we'll do is we will call it risky because.
Okay.
And not just because I don't want to give you controlled great, but because if your negotiations with them didn't go well, they will probably be an interfering element. Actually, they may choose to move against you.
Okay.
So risky great.
Risky great, and then do we say 2 bonus dice?
You get it. Well, you get it one increased
+1
as well.
+1. Okay, cool. I won't use any. I'll push myself to get us some cooler. Although I can't push myself to get more dice, can I? Oh no, bonus dice. Push yourself.
No,
yeah, I
you
can.
Yeah.
All right. 4 dice. Let's go, baby. Decent.
Ah, there is. It didn't root. Very good. Okay. Well, it's a success of the great variety. Your offer is what they've dreamed of. Unexpected support for their cause. To aid them in their uprising, basically. So they're very happy to work with you. And they promise you that they can coordinate some a distraction and kind of seditious activity can occur at a time that is most suitable, perhaps when you believe the artifact is being transported. And they can certainly help you. In return, they demand the artifact, obviously, and that will suffice as payment for them. The consequence, I think, is that there being now another party involved has, I guess, sort of just increased your risk of interference from other unknown parties. Just the more people know about what you're doing, the greater the risk of operation.
I mean, you got to imagine that the feds might have some informants in the Cobalt Syndicate at some point in the long line.
But you've certainly created a weakness.
Nice.
Very good. Other information that you might need, my friends, for your heist? Or your smash and grab?
This is tricky. Nyvor wants to just get information on how it's being transported.
Yeah. How it's being transported, a good ambush point, like how we can actually get on board and stop it and stuff. How, like, information on these hegemony guards, if there's any other types of guards or obstacles.
So Nyvor's friend contact is a ship mechanic called Triv, who is, I think it's fairly logical to state that Triv might be a memish. And if Triv, she be a ship mechanic, then maybe she is party to some, at least local traffic bylaws, where how the feds organize kind of freight transfer to and between the spaceport and the governor's palace. Maybe consorting with her might give some relevant information on how the thing is planning to be transported.
Yeah, I think you can do that. I think you can exploit that relationship. It's the sort of information that they would have. It's had to go through the usual bureaucratic channels for there to be this transport. Why don't you give us a consort roll then and see what you learn.
Yep. Well, I got no pips in consort, so this is going to go great. But then again, also, if she's associated with the revolution that I abandoned, then maybe that represents how bad this is going to go. But let's see. Position.
So I think it will start out as risky limited, because it's like there's not as much cause to be giving you this kind of information this time.
Yeah, even if she liked me, it would be risky, and she only very slightly does. So okay.
Must remind you, you've got things at your disposal. can push yourself. You can gambit.
Yeah, I think I will
Although
push myself.
I don't know if you. Yeah, I guess you probably don't get the gambits until you're on the job. But you can push.
Yeah, I will push myself, and I will do my leaf on the wind push myself.
Ooh.
Uh,
That
to
gives you
do-
both dice and effect, was it?
That's correct. Yeah, so I spend 3 stress instead of 2, and then I get to. So it's still, it is still risky, but it is standard effect.
Mm-hmm.
And I get 1 extra die, which is lucky.
That is lucky. Very good. Okay. So, so I think. So the information that you get, is, or actually, do it this way. You make a compelling case, and you are apparently very convincing, in your arguments. However, it will cost you. It will cost you 1 cred, which you may be familiar with as coin.
Oh, I
since
didn't
we haven't-
realize.
Since we haven't talked about how much cred everyone has, everyone will have 2 cred to start with. So she will give you some information, but not for free. So if you are willing to cough up, grease the wheels.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think Nyvor would have expected, knowing Triv, she's always on the take. Nyvor would have expected to have to grease her palm a bit. So he'll hand over the 1 or transfer the 1 cred. I'm assuming we're talking to them from the ship, so I'll have had to kind of like key in her phone number.
PayPal, yeah.
And then I'll Venmo her 1 cred.
And she says, actually, no, I use Cash App. Something to do with their F1 sponsorship. being a
Ugh,
real big
yeah, I know what you mean.
reason. Right, so she gives you all the information that she has. It's a pretty non-standard shipment, which is why it is heavily guarded. Not heavily guarded, like more heavily than usual. There are some on the manifest. There are scheduled to be a handful of or at least I'd say a couple of the 51st Legion aboard. Actually, is that the right faction? Yes, the 51st Legion, who are the hegemonic troops. No slouches.
So not the 501st Legion. That would be.
No. This is all very, very different. So they will be aboard. You know that the route is an overland route. It's there are several places. You learn of there are several places where you can foresee there be an opportunity to ambush, and you know that it will have to stop part way for a checkpoint. So it's land vehicle. It's basically a truck. It's like a land train kind of thing. It's not like a train. It's like maybe a couple of carriages, but it's like the technology is like so varied among systems. But because MEM is primarily a underwater world, I think its overland infrastructure is probably a little kind of like old school, where that's not really got their investment. So
like the Wild West, you might say.
You could say. I just took everything I had in me there to be like, so it's on a mag train.
Yeah.
So yeah, you get some useful information about who will be guarding it and the route. Right. We must move on. So,
can I gather information quickly?
Yes.
So one of my weird friends, this is one I've got a good relationship actually, is Hicks, and he's a mystic goods supplier. So, I'd think or assume, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. GM, that he might have information or know more about this artifact we're after.
He might.
And I'm basically going to go chum him up and see if he. I'll pick his brain basically and just see if he knows anything.
Oh yeah. What's Hicks like?
Good question. I imagine probably from is the planet he was working on, so we kind of know each other from then when we were both working for the Daimyo. Maybe he was under his service or one of his contacts for this. He collected these
He was
mystic
also
goods.
working for the Scottish Daimyo.
Yeah.
Hey, Flash, good to see you.
Oh,
Still
Hicks.
singing them swords.
Oh, of course. In a less lethal manner nowadays, though. I don't have to exercise my lethality.
What are you doing? What are you doing on them?
Well, we're after a specific package, I'll put it like that. And this package contains an artifact. I imagine it might be a precursor artifact. And I was wondering if you'd happen to know of any such item on them. Or if you've heard any tell.
He can theatrically sits back and goes through the act of pretending to remember as he decides if he wants to give you some information, which might have something to do with you, Rob.
Yes. I'll roll sway, and I will push myself to do so. Do I get any advantage due to him being a contact from my history?
Well, I think the advantage is that you have a contact.
That is true. That is a good advantage. Risky standard?
Yes. Risky standard.
Wonderful.
Yes. Risky standard.
Yes.
Okay, so he kind of comes back from his like theatrical lean and it's like, well, not the first person to ask me about the incoming artifacts. Hopefully the last. It's quite hush-hush. It's quite a big one, you know. We don't know much about it. It's not been registered. All the artifacts are supposed to be registered, as you know. I've heard this one's called the Domination Matrix. And if that doesn't set your hairs on end, then nothing will. Sounds like a big deal. They've tried to keep it quite low-key.
Aye. This domination matrix, do you have a sense of how it works?
I wouldn't know. All the artifacts are different, and they all have their own unique properties. Never had my hands on it, but it's rumoured to be quite powerful.
And one more thing, just to remind me if you will do so. We have to be particularly careful with handling these artifacts, because they are attuned to the way, I believe. Is this one like that?
Well, all the powerful artifacts have a certain amount of danger, and rumour has it that there have been some consequences as it was brought over. I heard, and I don't know if this is true, but I heard something about supraplasmic burns of the nervous system from someone who tried to have a go. Take from that what you will.
Aye. I see.
Good luck, I suppose.
Very well, Hicks. Lovely to see you again. I'm sure I'll make your acquaintance sooner than later.
Pleasure as always. Try not to die stealing an artifact that you shouldn't know about.
I feel like even though my character has good stuff for like deception, I feel like I'm leaning towards assault for this. Because also a big blown up train would be a better sell, I think, to the guild that the artifact's been destroyed. and
Well-
we've just hired a bunch of freedom fighters. So
Yes. So yes, keen to start the job. Flint, is there anything you very much wanted to do? Because otherwise, you've
Not
got pretty
really.
good information anyway.
Yeah, there's nothing that's I can add, to be honest.
So let's do that then. Are you going? I mean, you guys going to do assault, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys going to do assault.
well, I know infiltration takes about 3 times as long. So
Yes. In that regard, I'm glad you've chosen the more direct approach than the sneak in and steal it approach. Okay, so you need your what is it for assault? I can't find the page now. Like your point of entry, basically.
point of attack. Yeah.
Point of attack. That's the.
The hatch in the top of the truck.
Yeah. From the skies.
From the skies, brothers.
Drop in.
Hopefully they don't have like anti-air guns or anything like.
Yeah, hopefully.
It
All
depends
right.
on our engagement roll, I guess.
Yeah, we'll see. So yeah, you're going to be attacking using your ship and shuttle to directly attack the convoy. Well, it's not a convoy, but okay. Let's have a look at that engagement roll.
And do the Memish, can they come out of the water? Like
Yes.
yeah.
Like
So I
Frenum,
think
sea power.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Sea
here's what's
power.
gonna- here's so the Memish are gonna kick off their unrest, and I think they will make sure that some of that unrest is occurring obviously along the transport route. So it will be drawing kind of response forces away to reduce the kind of likelihood that the train it's not a train, that the transport will get any support, and also I think it should give you an opportunity to strike while it has been stopped.
In my head, it's like a giant, like amphibious vehicle.
Makes sense.
Yeah, I like that. It's like a sort of, like I say, somewhere between like a truck and a train. Big blocky sort of like. It feels like it should be a train.
We can make it a train if you're okay with that.
Nah, I don't think it is a train, but yeah, I like the idea it's this big amphibious vehicle.
Yeah. It like goes like the route takes it through some parts of the sea, and it kind of goes down and like bobs along it, and then back out again.
That's nice. So
It's gonna make this much harder. Being underwater. You got your diving equipment.
don't let it go underwater. It's good job you brought an amphibious friend with you. Bad news, he's a pilot.
Yeah.
Um,
We need him in the ship.
All right, is this operation bold or daring? Well,
Yes.
I'd say so. I'd say so.
Take that, Mikey.
Huzzah!
Yeah, it's also not overly complex or contingent on many factors. Smash and grab. Does the plan's detail expose a vulnerability? Yes, I'd say so. I'd say so. You've got a plan to make it vulnerable by forcing it to stop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do they have particular defenses or special preparations? They do have some hegemonic guards aboard. You are aware that they have elite soldiers.
Yeah.
We start with 1. We went +1. We went +2. We went back down to 1. Friends or contacts providing aid. We sort of done that already with the uprising.
Hicks told us about the artifact.
Hicks told you about the artifact.
Doesn't help us with the engagement though, really.
Doesn't help you.
Oh, okay.
But you are once again getting your +1 from your ship, which I think shockingly has you on 3.
Oh,
Oh,
Pretty good.
Score maximizing build.
And they're all going to be ones.
Well,
that's
let's find
survival.
out. Okay. I'm
This song is really good.
Well,
We're back to the orbital prison break because I didn't get enough tracks ready.
Train break. Heist.
Milo, your current track record for fortune rolls is pretty good.
Yeah,
So-
track record.
Well, I wouldn't go saying things like that right before someone rolls a dice. It is pretty good.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. It's a risky.
Okay. So, risky.
Risky tends to be like we don't get any advantage, but we don't get any like disadvantage either. It's kind of goes to plan.
Yeah, it's broadly going to plan, isn't it? So the convoy has been forced to stop by the Memish. As is their standard procedure, the guards are like sort of put on alert and sort of move from their posts in the carriage to go and sort of see what is going on and make sure that kind of nothing has happened. There are distractions everywhere. The convoy itself is not under assault, but it's clear that something's happening. It's at this time that your shuttle manages to well, actually, let's just talk about that for a moment. So you're coming in on the shuttle with the support of the ship. Is Nyvor staying on the ship, or is he piloting the shuttle?
I think it's probably best if Nyvor pilots the shuttle.
Yeah, I think we can assume the ship has either Perkins. No, not Perkins. It's got some auto
AI
pilot going on.
It's
So you
got
guys are all
AI
coming
stuff.
in on the shuttle with the goal of kind of breaking and entering. So I think, because it wouldn't be our Firefly knockoff if it wasn't, that your crew have managed to get yourselves dropped off on top of the convoy without directly attracting the attention of the surrounding guards at this time. But they are on alert, and you are in quite a precarious position. But so far, it's heist time.
Can I do a flashback?
Flashback!
I don't know how, but I would like to have checked to see if there was a like first class compartment, passenger compartment to this giant amphibious vehicle, that amorphous vehicle that we're describing, like in Firefly episode.
So this strange vehicle that seems to have many purposes. I think yes, because this is not just your average transit vehicle. This is like a sort of shuttle vehicle that goes to the governor's palace. So it has multiple purposes, like cargo and troops, and also guests.
Brilliant. How much stress would you like me to pay for that?
Feels like a tour.
Okay. In that case, I will definitely be wearing my fine clothes and a light load.
Oh yes, load. Load. Knew I've forgotten something. In my haste, can we just check everyone's load, please?
Yeah.
Now that you know how the encounter has started.
So
Heavy would affect like your acrobatic ability, wouldn't it? Like give you a negative to it.
What?
I think it
Yeah.
depends. I think it sort of depends.
If you're reasonably bogged down by having lots of stuff in your pockets or like on you, then it would come into effect.
I'm gonna take normal.
So I'm between normal and heavy. The only thing that's really a deciding factor here is if you want to count both blades as having their own separate load.
No, I think you can just thematically take the pair of swords.
All right, then I am at normal load.
Sweet. Good. Normal loads all around then.
Yeah.
Oh, he's light, isn't he?
I took light.
Oh, you took light. Okay. All right. Yes, because you're blending in.
Yeah.
All right then. So you are where you are. You're on top of the train. Cecil has a plan.
Well, I guess
Does
my well. I mean,
Cecil has half a plan.
yeah. I think. Well,
We're here now.
yeah. I think. Nyvor's flying the shuttle, and maybe coordinating with the Memish. I think Flint and Flash should make a beeline for the artifact, and I'll make a beeline for the first class carriage. Try and find a way to bluff my way towards maybe like the driver's compartment by pretending to be a noble in distress.
Well, yes, of course. Like any not a train, the first class would be at the front.
Mm-hmm.
So
Can I just ask? We're trying to secure and steal this package, not destroy it, right?
Yeah.
you certainly would know as a mystic that most precursor technology almost impossible to destroy.
Oh, right, okay.
They don't understand what it's made of, how it works, and it's not easy to damage at all.
Gotcha.
But then we have to tell
But
the guild
also-
that it was lost to the
We don't want
waves.
to do any of
Yeah, it's somewhere at the bottom of that massive ocean,
Yeah.
thousands of miles down.
Yep.
Yeah, but that also means that unfortunately we have to make sure that we don't leave anyone alive who can tell on us, basically.
Ah, now Daryl's back.
Kill everybody with the two swords.
Unfortunately, no witnesses.
The civilians in first class. Sorry, mate.
Cecil's going to be sat having dinner with some nobles that he's convinced, and Flint's going to walk in like. Anyway, so let's cut to Flash and Flint attempting to make their way to the artifact itself.
Mm-hmm.
So, where are we entering the ship? Which part of the ship are we in?
It's a
Not ship.
It's a train. It's
Train.
a car. It's the
Aqua
vehicle.
train.
A vehicle. There we go.
Transport. Well, you know which compartment the stuff is stored in, so it'll be up to you if you enter there. And that's
Are we
information you got.
Yeah, that makes
It's
sense.
this is not like an armored truck transport type thing, but it's also not unsecured. So there will be ways for you to gain entry depending on what your
I guess
characters try and do.
I think I'm gonna tick off detonator, and I'm gonna make an explosive entry to whichever kind of area of the train has the artifact in that compartment.
All right, a proper smash and grab. Now we're talking.
Sounds good.
Just for context, while the explosive entry is happening, Nyvor is still in the cockpit of the shuttle, but he is scanning the perimeters for any escort vehicles or reinforcements that may end up coming, and is in control of. Would we have a little gun on the shuttle, like a little?
I think probably some small arms of some kind.
Yeah. So he's in control of like a little teeny remote control autocannon or something on the shuttle, ready to open fire on reinforcements.
On the gun cutter.
Ooh, is it like in Helldivers, the shuttle with the autocannon on the front?
Yeah, it'd be something like that. Let's say.
No.
Right, so Nyvor's up above, Cecil's on the way in to ingratiate and infiltrate. Flash, you're breaking in. Well, let's see then.
So
That sounds to me like a looks at the list.
New wreck, space wreck.
Yeah, what's space wreck? Is it part of its rig?
I think
was
it's
wondering-
green or Yeah,
it's gonna be
it
rig.
is rig, isn't it?
So
Because it says rig explosives at the end.
So I just read the heavy blaster. Apparently, it can actually blast through shield doors.
Can it?
I mean, my side blade can cut us a hole, but
That might be. I mean, the options are all up to you. That might be more subtle. If I know
Yeah,
one
but-
thing about space laser swords, they're good with the doors.
Mm-hmm.
but blowing it up is also intriguing.
It's up to you.
Does someone shout, "Close the blast doors"? They're still coming through.
Okay, so
Is this
legal? I don't want to power game it too much, but I don't have any points in rig. But it does just make sense to use a side blade because that's what I know.
Oh yeah.
So I'm gonna focus my weight energy into my blade and use it to cut as a little circular thing. Not quite circular, it's actually very rough because I'm pissed. But yeah. So do you think a tune for that? So I'm focusing my weight energy?
A tune is so incredible. I spent ages trying to understand a tune.
Yeah, good
because it
luck with that.
basically does everything. I think for the purposes of this, let's go with it because I think it can represent how well you're controlling your blade.
Yeah, and I think part of this ability is focusing, you're kind of using the way to channel the blade's power or empower it.
We can sort of roll it into one a little bit and say that it's a bit of a double whammy for a tune because you're also going to be attuning to find the artifact, which you'll be able to sense through the way. So this will help you this will help determine like the success of your entry as a whole.
Gotcha. Sense? Do you want to offer a devil's bargain?
You mean a Wookiee's bargain?
Bargain. Jedi's bargain, I think we're on at this point.
Yeah,
Sith
I think-
bargain.
Do it.
Let's see.
I will make it legal.
I am the hegemony.
Maybe if
So I think it's just going to be if you like you'll get +1 dice, but you're you sort of over attune to the way. Maybe the strength of the artifact is interrupting the flow of the way / force / whatever, and that causes or will cause a sort of psychic ripple through the train. Not necessarily like it's not like an alarm going off, but there will become some sense that something odd is happening.
Yeah.
It's
like a
yeah, I'm
shockwave.
happy for that. It's almost like a seismic
Yeah.
charge.
Yeah. So to be clear, this will draw attention to you, but not super clear, but it'll probably draw the attention of guards and things.
Well, that's what we're here for, lads, isn't it? Smash and
Yeah,
grab,
I'm with you.
kill a few super
Alright.
soldiers.
Rather the guards went to your direction.
Yeah, that makes more
Yeah.
sense.
So,
Alright.
risky, desperate, probably risky.
Yeah, we're not at desperate yet, so risky.
Standard effect.
Standard, you will successfully cut a hole in the ceiling.
Brilliant. And I've got +1 die for the devil's bargain. You can't push yourself as well, can you? It's one or the other.
Haven't read that personally. Have you read that in the book?
It says on the bonus dice in the character sheet there, it says push yourself, take
Or-
2 stress, or accept
yeah.
devil's bargain.
It can be assisted though.
Do we need assistance for this sort of thing though?
But then how would I be assisted as well?
Yeah.
Uh,
Can't really make.
Thinking.
Yeah, I guess.
Should I just get on top of the circle?
There you go.
Huh. Didn't need it. Made it in. Well, you do. You successfully cut a hole in the ceiling. You drop in deftly, I imagine. Well, they're like deft to a sort of drunken master, sort of. To you, it was deft.
You just
And
stumble around.
you basically land pretty much on top of the artifact. You're like, nice. But you do hear a shout from outside as one of the guards, perhaps one of the ones better attuned, has a bit more sensitivity, calls out and starts heading immediately to check on the wares.
Mm-hmm.
So
Do I know where the package is? The artifact, sorry.
Yeah, so it's in like an ornate, like an already specially crafted ornate box that it's sitting on, and yeah, you can sense it. So you've identified it. It's about like yay big. You know, it's not a big object. So you could carry it.
I'm gonna start kind of not studying, but kind of preparing it and like maybe setting out like pouring oils or doing some sort of ritual to kind of prepare myself to engage with it.
Going to attempt to attune to it.
Yes. But then while I'm
Okay,
doing that, maybe other people can do their stuff. I've cancelled what I needed to do, by the way. Cancelled my appointment, so we've got more time.
Yeah. Well, I reckon we can get that in time for was it Alex's next stop. Sweet. So let's just check in with Flint. Have you entered with Flash?
yes, so I would have entered immediately after Flash and would have made my way towards the door to make sure that anyone who does notice us and gets in doesn't get to do anything to stop him from attuning and retrieving this artifact.
All right. Smash cut to Cecil. How are you getting on the train?
How am I getting on the train?
He's on the
That
train.
is a good question.
You could sneak. Or,
Yeah,
like,
is there a I like to think if I head towards the front on top of the train, I like to think there's kind of he kind of looks over the side and sees part of the first class cabin is like a viewing platform, like an observational deck.
Oh, perfect.
So the rich people the aristos can enjoy the lovely surrounds and maybe have an Aperol or something. And I think I just wait for a moment to just jump down there, dust myself off, hold my legitimate ID in my hand,
yes.
which is zero load, properly encoded hegemonic ID indicating your legitimate station in the hegemony.
Well, I think with that you do just make it into the train.
Yeah.
Very good.
Nice and swift.
And then I think, just to speed things along, I get the attention of a guard and consort with them to take me to the POWs that are being transported. And I can't think of a reason why I would do that. Perhaps I can pretend like I want to gloat at some memish rebels.
I think that's perfectly viable. Certainly are how I imagine the hegemonic upper classes, or perhaps the British ones. So I think as you talk to the guards, in fact, no. So let's make that see if that's a consequence of or not of your role. So let's see your consort.
All right. Position and effect.
Just gonna keep going risky standard.
Okay. I will push myself in this occasion.
Always more pushing.
Do I get any bonuses for? Actually, I guess not, because all my stuff does basically mean that I am allowed to be here. Essentially, doesn't convince me to do this. Ugh. Okay. Before you say anything, I use my ability Subterfuge, and I will expend my special armor to resist a consequence of persuasion.
No.
Very good.
Or suspicion.
Nice.
Very good indeed. Okay.
Yeah. But I still need
In
to
that
roll.
case,
I still need to roll resist, I think. Oh, no, I don't need to roll resist fusing armor, do I?
No, yeah. So just special armor is expended.
Yep.
Well, in that case, the guard that you're talking to, who like any guards in a place like this feels like they're sort of one of the elite as well, and he just kind of looks at you and scoffs and says, "Not sure what you'd want to be doing with those peasants in the wagon. Wouldn't you rather be up with your fellows? I'm afraid I simply cannot permit even one such as yourself, sir, down to the other carts. They're dangerous, you see."
Yes, all right. Perhaps as a consolation prize, maybe I could have a little sit in the driver's cabin. I always wanted to see. I'm a big fan of the engineering feats of the people here.
That's why I love that so much.
He's a train enthusiast, is our Cecil.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he looks at you a little bit peculiarly, but having spent lots of time around nobly sorts who just want to
odd
go
weirdos, yeah.
They're a bit weird and they always just want to go and do stuff and poke around. He doesn't really see any issue, and says, "Ah, yes, but of course, we usually reserve the driver's visits for the children of the noble families, but yeah, what harm is it? Train drivers are lovely chap. Not a train, of course, that we're on this transport driver." Chap. And he
all right, shall I roll again?
He's happy to take you up.
He's happy to take me? Okay.
No, I think he's just happy to take you up.
Okay.
Like it doesn't seem like a big deal in the setting for you to just be like,
Can I see the driver?
you've resisted his suspicion, basically.
Okay. And then just quickly, does the guard stay with me, or?
I think we'll make that a fortune roll. Yes, I think we'll make it a fortune roll just to sort of say how by the book is he feeling?
Yeah.
Because he probably should.
And I can always like give him one of my. I maybe palm him a cred. And say.
Tip him.
Well, I say I think I owed a chap in there, the elderly chap in first class. I think I owed him this, but I don't mind if you keep it and you get lost on the way.
Very good. Well, I think we'll make that fortune roll kind of a bit backwards, but we'll sort of add a dice to the fortune roll because you've been a good little noble, paying your way, greasing your palms.
He's not a noble.
That's a lot of money as well, isn't it? One coin.
It is a lot of money, and it's a 6.
Great.
Oh,
Cool. And then so
good fortune.
in the interest of time, I just finished what I'm doing here. I basically, once the guard's left and I can see through the little window he's gone back to the compartment, I pull my blaster and tell the driver to stop the train, and I lock the door.
Hell yeah! Nice. All right.
Nice.
Proper spy games here. Right. Okay. So we reach, broadly speaking, the end game. Flash and Flint, you need to somehow get off this train. However, once the train stopped, the guards sort of are then on full search orders now. And the door to your compartment opens, and one of these 51st Legion guards steps in and looks at you and says, "I don't think you should be here."
So the way that I imagined Flint like guarding this door was basically just like staying to the side, like right in front of it, but to the side, so he's out of the field of view. So as soon as the door opens and he hears this, he would just like to immediately turn and strike.
All right. Boom. Straight in there. In for the kill.
I think you see Flash just kind of like sat down and like meditating and humming, kind of just muttering away in tongues, trying to communicate with the artifact while this is all
so
happening.
You're focusing on that. Okay, so
Yeah.
it's just Flint in the
Fully.
fight. Okay. Well then, Flint. It sounds to me like you've got your next attempt at a successful scrap roll coming up.
Yeah, attempt is a good word to use.
So be warned. This is a serious foe.
Yeah. All right. I mean, I don't think I need to push myself for any of this. Not really.
Be warned.
Well-
This is a serious foe.
Yeah, no. I was seeing what I had. Okay, I can't actually. So.
I don't know what else I can.
No, I know. Just trying
Oh,
to
no.
envision
No,
what's
no
going to
pushes.
happen eventually. But if this is like that serious, I can't push myself to perform a feat of physical force that verges on the superhuman. That should help with taking this guy down, especially if he's that serious.
Yes. I'm just trying to think how to apply that.
And we have Gambit as well, which we may as well use up, I imagine.
When you spend a gambit in combat, you also gain +1 effect.
Mhm.
So
And since it's melee, I'm also gaining 1+.
So you
but-
should have pretty good odds.
All right. So that's precision. I'm guessing that this time it's desperate.
It is going to be desperate. Yeah.
Effect.
So your effects would have started at none. Because he is heavily armored, well trained, on guard, elite soldier. So you're going to get +1 effect if you use the gambit, take you to limited. And then that's going to be your starting position. And you're going to have your push yourself dice, your plus melee dice, and your gambit dice.
All right.
So you're starting at desperate limited, but you're +3.
Nice. Okay.
So you remember
I'll
you can
take-
trade position for effect.
Does he get effect from the Gambit as well? Was
Or
that?
rather? Yes. Sorry. Yes, that's what takes it from non to limited.
Oh, okay.
Wait, so his
Actually, no.
weapons-
Sorry, you've got a fine weapon. So
Yeah.
we're going to go from limited to standard.
Okay. Let me just reroll that. As in, like.
He has 2 fine weapons, actually, Milo.
It's counting as one.
So, sorry. So the effect is. Let's get that clear.
Right. So the effect is going to, in the end, be standard.
Okay.
Red Sash.
We think.
Red Sash.
Yeah, it's basically like the
nostalgia.
red sash captain sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a critty hitty
6-6.
critty.
Oh, is it? Hell yeah.
It is.
She's open.
Yes,
We love
fully
to
redeemed.
see it.
It is.
Crits happen so
It's 'cause-
rarely that I almost don't know what to do with them, but I think we know that we can ask Flint how successful his stealthy strike upon the 51st Legion Guard is.
Well, Flint has like these two blades. One of them is a vibro blade, and the other one is like just black carbon fiber. And he's just like he's standing behind the door, to the left of the door, just like this. As soon as he sees this foe immediately get in, obviously he knows that Flash is still doing his own thing. He just turns and tries to just dash through the guard and slicing his way as he just passes through him.
Nice.
You know, this has only gone so well because Flash isn't involved in the fight at all.
He's like, now's my chance that he's not going to get tripped up by Flash.
A very different role to the first one, yeah.
Oh, and then a few seconds pass, and then suddenly it's like the.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It's it's the side-on view corridor fight scene from Guardians, right?
Yeah.
In like samurai anime style, so it's just like black paint drops of blood.
Yeah.
I mean, the best way I can describe it to anyone who plays League is just imagine UNA's ultimate.
Oh yes, I'm familiar.
Oh, yes. Okay, so Flint has secured enough time for the two of you to make away with the artifact, assuming you're going the way you can. Flash is attempting to attune, wisely or unwisely, to the artifact at this time.
I mean, imagine I'm trying to keep it stable. I'm trying to like prepare it and make sure that it's safe for transporting. That's the purpose of my attunement here.
Okay. I think.
And maybe I tap into it and unleash something, or it communicates with me.
So I think if you do me an attune roll, as you assess it, I'm not going to treat this as you trying to activate it, which is where the real danger would lie, I think. But I think you can try to surface level try and read it a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because you would know that activating powerful artifacts is extremely dangerous.
Yes. So I've got offerings or trappings or religion, something like that, in my items. So I imagine that's kind of like the oils, the incense I'm using to kind of prepare the ritual. So do I get increased effect for that? Or another die? Lovely, I'll take that off. I'll push myself, taking 2 stress. Are we looking at risky standard or?
Yeah. Yeah.
No. With the extra die for pushing myself. 2 for the
That's great. It's great when you can
ritual.
just push yourself. Everyone can push themselves fresh with no consequence, right? You're like, yeah, do it.
And then with the
Hit it.
offerings, is that increased effect or another die? Sorry.
I don't think your effect can really be increased much further with this because you're trying to because what you're trying to do, the effect can't be much greater than really starting to understand what it is. So I think take an extra dice, I guess.
Roger.
It's
Need
another
it.
6, everybody. Okay. So, I guess while Flint is executing guards, Flash is sort of taken momentarily to whatever his attunement to the way is like, but off to another sort of semi-spectral realm, I suppose. And in a little brief moment of inspiration, and with this strange feeling of you get the feeling while attuning to this artifact of what it is to have your will completely dominated. It doesn't happen, but you get a sense. You understand what that would feel like.
Shouldn't have said that. Should not have said that.
And then you sort of flash out of it, and you're not traumatized or anything, but it's a bit of a shocking experience. And you kind of learn that this is a tool of control, a powerful and dangerous tool. It's up to you whose hands it would be worse off in, but you know that that's what sort of tool it is.
Right.
Now, how are you making your escape, everybody?
So, how high is the ceiling that we dropped in from?
About 2 meters, I suppose. You with your athletic skill and the stuff in the room, you wouldn't struggle to get back to it.
Yeah, I mean that would be the best way out for us at least. If Flint is able to carry the artifact, maybe he should be the one to carry it since he's a bit more athletic, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe Flash doesn't want to carry it anymore.
Yeah. I think kind of as Flash is meditating and attuning, he kind of he's doing the ritualistic humming and speaking in a forsaken, long forgotten language. He kind of snaps out of it suddenly, panting, out of breath, like he's seen a ghost, terrified almost. And yeah, he just wants to get it and move it straight away and get a move on, because he doesn't know how long it's been either. Time is just, it felt to him like hours when he was attuning.
Well, we gotta get ourselves out of here now. Let's go. Are you done from your part?
Let's get a move on, Flint. Don't want to be hanging around here no longer.
At this point, you hear on the comms, Nyvor calls in and goes, I'm seeing a lot of chatter on the radio channels down there. They must be alerted. What the hell's going on? Do you have the artifact?
Affirmative. We're trying to extract.
We'll get a move on.
Yeah,
Can't be long before we need to get these guns running.
I guess, Nyvor, you see from like the cockpit window that the vehicle's like slowly coming to a stop, and then you can see the Memish come out of the sea out of the side and start, and then
I think so. I think because the train has fully stopped, perhaps the sort of, I say uprising, the disturbance they had planned to cause, it becomes an even bigger opportunity and risk, and actually if they effectively begin assaulting the train or look like they're about to assault the train, they will probably know that there are both valuables and potentially people on there. So as they come out, I think the guards are certainly more focused on that than anything else because they're in danger. So you have an opportunity for a deft pickup.
Nice. I think I message. Sorry, Flint. I think I message Castor Vex and just
Castor Vexilla.
Castor Vexilla. Vexilla, and it's not Warhammer. Just to tell him that
Mr. Flag.
just to tell him that his POWs are still like where they are in the carriage, and there are some rich hegemony folk who have one too many valuables that he might want to take from them, and in exchange for the artifact, he needs to ensure us that he's going to destroy the train once he's done with it to cover the tracks.
I don't know if you're like texting on the fly with him or whatever, but you just get a message back that just says received, and you can sort of hear it in that aggravating voice.
Yeah, full stop.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Fine.
So you make your you manage to get your pickup. I think because of how that's all kind of playing out quite effectively. The only thing left to do will be to get back to the ship and make a run for it. Mm-hmm. Or actually, rather, you probably can't return to your ship yet because you need to deliver the item to Mr. Vexilla. Or maybe he can come to your ship. I don't know how you've pre-arranged it. What do you think? What do you think you've pre-arranged?
I think we just have a rendezvous, maybe a few miles on a little island or something.
Yeah. So I think you managed to do that pretty much without drama because of the disturbance that's going on anyway. While the artifact going missing is a huge deal, it's not noticed as quickly as it could have been or should have been, and so your escape is actually pretty much
nice.
So, well done. Smash cut. The meeting with Castus Vexilla. Sorry, doing on TikTok.
It's more breathy in this universe.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's because he was sounding too much like Silas. But he was always like annoyingly like raspy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is a different character, so it doesn't matter what he's on. But it's Castus Vex. No, it's Castor Vexilla. Do you have the artifact? He says as he approaches you at the rendezvous.
Yes, we have the artifact. Flesh and Flint did an excellent job retrieving it. Definitely didn't try to attempt to connect with it or anything. So all good there. Happy to hand it over.
Oh, that is most gracious of you, Cecil.
Moondust, actually.
Yeah, as it please you, sir. He takes the artifact, and he's not really attuned, so he kind of doesn't have the same reaction. But he takes it very graciously and offers you even though he is kind of receiving the artifact, he offers you kind of like a share of the plunder, basically, that they've managed to get, because that was an unexpected boon. So there's a payday in it for you as well. And he thanks you for the opportunity to hit the hegemony where it hurts on basically 4 fronts at once, by hitting them with such a high value target.
Yeah, crew XP.
Woo. Let's do some crew XP, because I think, or crew and character XP, because I think it would be nice to have some payoff, and maybe these characters will come back. Now we won't do the entanglement to find out what happens when you have betrayed the guild, but should there be another episode of this, I think we'd have a fine starting point.
I think I'm happy to do a flashback and tick off my last item, which is detonator, and say on my way out I slapped the detonator over where the fuel tanks were for the thing, just to ensure its destruction if Castor Vexilla was not true to his word.
Really got
Which sometimes these syndicate people aren't.
No. Syndicate of the people, isn't it? So right, so you get back to your ship. You got your money. You got your hearts of gold, feeling flush with pride. And you make your way in your ship swiftly as reasonably possible away from this region of space. No hyperdrive for you, but perhaps to a hideout. But you do have a message waiting in your inbox from a certain old friend who perhaps is not an old friend anymore. That reads, "We got you out of that hole. We're going to put you back in it."
Oh, okay.
And you know you have made an enemy.
They don't know we haven't got it yet.
Well, they know they haven't got it, and you've gone a running.
Yeah, I'd just be like, I'll send a text, soz. could not find.
KK.
Memish attacks. Mission
well, we
aborted.
can figure out the consequences in full should we ever get there. But we made it. Made it to the end of the Scott.
Very good.
We did.
We probably don't need to run through every bit of XP, but I think if there's anything you want to point to, because I know Olly, you basically managed to tick all of the boxes, you might want to do some little callbacks there.
Yeah, I think I nearly almost completely leveled up.
Wow.
I definitely did 2 tough challenges with deception or influence. Expressed my beliefs and background, and I did struggle with my vice as well. No traumas yet. We should, with the one shots, we should probably start with the trauma each as well.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Actually, I think it would make it a bit spicier.
No desperate actions though.
No, you found yourself in relatively controlled situations. No, I think everyone managed to play to their strengths there.
Yeah, I did use a desperate roll for the attack. I think that was with desperate, right? Or am I...
Yes,
Yeah.
You had a desperate attack.
I also did a
surely
desperate
your
roll.
character will be solving things through violence, because your character is just the same sheet as the cutter, basically.
Yeah.
I also did a desperate roll in flying away from the prison.
Yeah, it's a fairly critical moment.
Indeed.
Though I don't know if I did any other desperate rolls. I don't think so. I did express my background by praying to Zaruk a couple of times. I know I should have said so at the time, where I am praying to Zaruk because it is my background. But I sometimes find that a little bit jarring, so I don't always remember to say it.
Did you also for your I think your stuff about your relation to your Memish folk as well was
Yes.
your heritage?
Yes,
Yeah.
lots about heritage and background.
that I did definitely bring that in as well. So that's I think 3 for me.
To be fair, I actually think everyone managed to express their backgrounds more than usual today.
Yeah, I didn't get to express it much. It's a military background, so I mean, there wasn't much that I could do with that. The only thing that I think I did do, apart from the desperate role, is addressing a tough challenge with force. You know.
Well, that you definitely did do.
I think
Force
that's the other
and
thing, though.
style.
Yeah.
And in the prison escape as well.
Oh yeah, that's true. Thank you. But again, yeah, I didn't really express my belief, drives, heritage, or background, and I didn't really struggle with any issues. So it's just those two.
What was I going to say? Oh yes, I wanted to tell you about the artifacts.
The domination matrix.
Yeah, so I basically had just a browse to see some artifacts people had created. But this artifact basically, like, it's mental. So upon aiming this device at an organic or non-organic entity, a simple button click will make them subservient to every whim and demand of the individual.
Oh god.
For the simplest of minds, little is necessary. But most minds will require a tuning. But because the way artifacts work in this world, they have really weirdly specific requirements, and if it's simple, like if it doesn't, you know, it's like the greater the effect, the more complex. For this one, the artifact requires a ghost or spectral entity who has been placed in an electric field measuring precisely 37.32 ounce.
Ghosts.
Yeah.
32.6.
In this universe.
Spectral entities, yeah.
That's a bit weird.
There are spectral entities of some sort. And then if it glitches, because basically all the artifacts can glitch, basically if they fail, the ghost field will produce near fatal harm, basically. Nervous system dysfunction, deleterious cellular way effects. Also, those controlled by the artifact will relentlessly hunt down and attempt to cannibalistically consume the user.
Jesus Christ.
God, someone's had a great day inventing this.
Yeah, there are some ones in the book that are like much more reasonable and normal. Like one of them is like you can pilot a ship using your body.
That's cool.
You know, stuff like cool, but it's like they're so wacky, and the designers have clearly been like, we wanted a bit of wacky shit, so let's just have the tools to make anything wacky you want, as long as you give it drawbacks, and that's a core tenet for our universe. Have fun.
Yeah.
Part of my load, I can take a precursor artifact.
I was surprised you didn't, actually. I thought you would.
I saw that, but I didn't know what to kind of think and come up with. I didn't know too much in the scope of artifacts.
Yeah, I suppose there's quite a lot going on there.
Yeah.
But if you were playing a campaign, it would be something really cool to think about. Like collecting new ones that can do different things, like enemies that have one, they could steal one off you, use it against you for a while. Cool.
Hell yeah.
Or it's like
well done, guys.
That was super fun.
Managed to get through
It
a
was.
double score thing.
It was. It felt good to be back, even for like a one shot.
Yeah, we'll come back then.
Yeah.
Oh,
Simple
I will.
solutions
I will.
to that
No,
problem.
I will eventually. I just need to get some things in order. But that's a long story.
Well, I hope you get them in order. Missed you.
I haven't totally planned it, but I feel like we should do a one shot in the stag do as well, at least.
Yes, please.
On the hungover night, I think will be best.
Have you invited any normies though? That's the.
No, so everyone on my stag do has been a player in a campaign, because that's the kind of person I am. I collect PCs or turn people into PCs.
Hey, it would be a lot of fun.
Yeah. But yeah, I really enjoyed this. Thank you, Milo. Thank you for the treat.
You are most welcome, and very good to have you as a player in this system as well. Very, very good.
Yeah, I always wanted to be a spider speaker kind of character, but I feel like if I'm a player again, I will not be the face. I'm drawn to the face, but I will try and be not the face next time.
I think you played it very well, though. The fact
Yeah.
that how you went to the front of the train and stopped the train was very cool. Very smooth.
Yeah, that's very good.
That was cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it was very
you had-
balanced. Like, everyone had a lot of things to do. Sorry, Alex.
Just you gave yourself options. It was cool. There was the character seemed to like make a plan with contingencies and then follow that list of contingencies. It just happened that everything went really well.
We were lucky.
Yeah.
I think there's a certain, I think there's quite a big payoff to having impactful results from non-violent things. Like, the effects of what you chose to do were great in the end, but they only required some sly talking and, well, not just that, but also your background and all the other things that enabled it. But I think it's quite cool to when that happens, because a lot of the time it's hard to think of how you will use those skills in a given situation.
I think that's the good thing about like sci-fi, like generic sci-fi. There's so many reference points you have in your brain. Like, actually, I've always been better at sci-fi stuff compared to say like fantasy, just because I'm a big fan of all the sci-fi. So like we didn't even do anything Guardians of the Galaxy related, and we had a prison breakout.
That's a good point. I only made a Prison Break reference.
I was picturing the the Star Wars series with the Prison Break towards the end.
Andor,
Yeah.
the greatest Star
Oh,
Wars
we did have
of all time.
We did have it.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely the
Hi.
greatest piece of Star Wars media ever made. Without question.
Yeah, we'll see if Mikey's still in the chat, because he definitely will respond to that bait.
Oh, Mikey's in the chat.
He was earlier.
Yeah, and anyone who disagrees is probably a dumb idiot. I don't know, is that, yeah?
Who probably shouldn't deserve to grace this role-playing group ever again.
No, banned forever, I would.
Wow. That is not how I thought we would end this. Like banning Mikey in his absence.
It is a dark
Rude.
day.
A dark day for us all. Well, that was incredibly fun. Thank you very much, Milo. Happy. Is it to celebrate your actual birthday or your RPG birthday or what?
Yeah, it was my birthday last weekend.
Well, happy late birthday, Olly.
Thank you.
Happy late birthday. Yeah, very welcome, and thanks for having me as your once a year GM.
Yeah,
It was fun. It was great.
Nice.
Good job to
maybe
everyone.
Maybe a part 2 Milo on the way.
I hope you well up playing more of this.
Christmas.
system. What is game?
Ah, the Christmas special.
Christmas and birthday.
Yeah, we can
Christmas
do Christmas
special.
special as well.
Um,
Alright.
I'm happy to stay on the call and continue debriefing off stream as well.
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
I
stick
would
around.
really enjoy that, but I must go, I'm afraid.
Fair dues.
So I will see you boys on Tuesday, I guess.
Take care.
See you.
Have a great weekend, everybody.
Goodbye, chat.
Laters.
Enjoy.
Goodbye.